Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Monday Night Live. I'm Johnny Burns, your host, and today I'm really excited because we have Flick Talks joining us in about 10 minutes, give or take. I just talked to him. He's getting ready backstage, and we're going to cover a couple different topics today. We're going to be talking about Jason Lives in honor of Friday the 13th. We watched a bunch of movies this weekend. I personally watched Jason Lives, followed by Freddy versus Jason, followed by Friday the 13th Part 2. That's the one with the wheelchair. It's just cracks me up every time. It's also like the Baghead Jason movie, but Jason Lives is easily probably one of the most fun action-packed versions that I've ever seen of the entire franchise. It is the crowd-pleasing version. It is the one you put on when you're hanging out with people if you don't really want to pay attention too closely. Not that you have to really pay attention to any of them, but this is like very much the MTV movie of like 1983 or 4 when it came out. It's a lot of fun. There's some kills in there. I don't want to talk about too much until we get Flicks in here, but we're going to be talking about Jason Lives. We're going to be talking about the Back Doors, which just got greenlit. We're going to be talking about 28 days later because, as we all know, 28 years is coming out this Friday. I'm going to a press screening of it this Wednesday. I'm really excited about that. So we're going to be talking about why we love that movie. And finally, very briefly, because we're doing news, we're also going to be talking about Will Smith and his new music video, "Pretty Girls." Is he still jiggy with it? Is he trying too hard? Should he hang it up? Should he stop making Will Smith happen? I don't know. These are the things we're talking about today. Down in the chat, we got a couple people who are already kind of in there right off the bat. Amanda, who is a Flix Talks moderator. As someone who just watches Friday the 13th for the first time the other night, I can see why it's worth the hype. Absolutely, Amanda. Thank you for the chat. Thank you for coming in. Very excited to talk about it when Flix Talks gets in here. Jason Dominguez wrote, just subscribe to your channel, Burns. Your guest, David, sent me a link to today's live stream. I'll attend, but only for half an hour because I'll be attending a watch along on Patreon. Totally understand, Jason. We're very happy to have you for the 30 minutes that you're going to be here hanging out. If you have any questions you want to get into us early on, because we know you got to skedaddle, by all means, get them in there. Thanks for being here. Amanda said, hi, LOL. Burns says, hi, Burns. Hi, Amanda. What's up, Flix Talkers? Make some noise. Flix Talks is in the house. All right, let's see if we can get him in here. I think he's backstage. And then Jason just said, hi, David. Amanda got some sunglasses going. All right, so it's 9 o'clock, right? Close enough. David, you don't mind if we come in a little bit early, do you? I can see he's giving the thumbs up. All right, everybody. He's been doing this for a long time. His name is Flix Talks. I'm very happy to have him on the show. He's our second guest. He's maybe probably going to teach me a couple things about this whole live stream as we keep going. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Live Talks. Flix Talks.
What? Live Talks. All right. I mean, I can do that.
Live right now.
What's up, my friend? Yeah, great to finally meet you. I see a lot of your
man.
content online, and I started diving a little deeper into your channel. I love the ending explain stuff, and I
Thanks,
usually
man.
search for that after a movie because that's the part that always leaves me puzzled is the ending, and I never kind of dive any deeper. But yours are very, very extensive, and I love the what's the one we just saw recently? The Bring Her Back, which was very, very interesting. I wish a lot more people saw that movie. It's funny because I did review that movie a little early. They had it like AMC Unseen Screen or whatever. Yeah. And I got up and I was just like, wow, horror is back. And someone in front of me was like, this was the worst horror movie I've ever seen.
No.
And I was
well,
like, oh shit. Okay,
I mean,
wow.
The people who are lining up to go see Megan 2.0, they're probably not going to love Bring Her Back.
Yeah.
It's a very different type of movie. I'm going to get out of the way, get it going, get the chat going a little bit. I'm going to put that trivia question. I was going to put towards the end, but of the 3 upcoming horror movies that are on the calendar, 28 years later, Megan 2.0, and the reboot for I Know What You Did Last Summer, how would you rank those from most want to see to least?
Ooh. For myself, or do you think the general audience?
For yourself.
Okay, so, jeez. Because I know I gave praise to the A24, of course, but I am like a huge, like I love the cheese of Megan and stuff like that too.
Sure.
I have not seen the sequel to 28 Days Later yet. So 28 weeks later, I can't watch 28 years later until I watch the sequel.
Well,
So that's probably gonna.
I'll be
But
honest with you. I've seen that movie 3 times now, and it is definitely one of those movies, like, no matter how many times I see it, I always, like, go, I don't think I've seen that movie." And then somebody puts it on, and it starts playing, and I'm like, "Oh, right, I recognize that. I think I did see this movie." So it's really, like, if they just use the first movie and don't
yeah.
even reference the second movie, I think it's fine. I think they recognize that most people or don't I mean, they like the sequel, but it's not like they know not everyone has seen it. You're gonna get a lot of those Easter eggs of like Cillian
Mm,
Murphy, Naomi Harris, Brendan
yeah.
Gleeson. You're gonna get that. I
Okay.
I watched it recently and it's got like the guy from Train Spotting, the guy from the Full Monty. He the big scene in that movie that he completely throws his wife under the bus.
Hmm.
And, like, he just makes
Okay.
a run for it. That's, like, the opening of the movie, and then you have, like, yet to pop off famous people like Rose Byrne and, who's the guy who plays
Okay.
Hawkeye? Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy Renner.
They're
Oh yeah,
they're
someone did.
they're right,
Yeah.
they've got big parts in the movie, but, like, again, I've watched it, I kinda went, "Oh, yeah, that happened," and I'll watch it again before Wednesday, but, the
Yeah.
first I gotta believe they're gonna jump off that first movie hard.
Okay. Well, I mean, for anticipation level for me, I guess 28 days later might be, 28 years later might be first.
Sure, same.
Um, yeah, believe it or not, Megan 2.0 is probably in the middle, and then least I know what you did last. There's no reason for
That's fair.
a
That's
sequel.
completely fair.
I am a diehard. I'm not diehard fan of the franchise. My wife, for some reason, hates horror, but that she loves that movie as a slasher. I think it's because the whole the casting of it, at the time was a big deal, and it just screams like Seventh Heaven and all those shows that were big at the time and stuff. And I really like the first. I Know What You Did Last Summer. I hate
Mhm.
the sequel. It's probably one of the worst sequels to me of all damn time.
You don't like Jack
Mainly
Black?
because no, Jack
Hey,
Black with the dreads?
man! Come
No.
on, we're gonna party!
And it's fine to recycle the same formula. It's just those characters were not as likable to me as in the first movie. And I like is it Mekhi Phifer and Brandy, I believe.
Mekhi Phifer.
Um
Mekhi Phifer is just a really
yeah.
horny guy. That's kind of his whole that's
And
pretty much it.
he plays it well. It's just, the rehashing of everything. And I know with Hollywood, it's been 20 years later type of shit. They just keep rehashing IP, and that's fun and that's great and stuff like that. It's just another way to shimmy in the surviving cast members, and that's great for fanfare. And if you go to Comic Cons, if you do cosplay, if you're diehards like that, then by all means, these movies are for you. I don't ever go to Comic Cons.
Right.
I support the movies, I buy them and stuff like that, but I will never
I
find
went I
myself in
went I
Comic
went to
Con. So
one because I wanted to go meet up
yeah,
with, Sean Chandler and Austin Burke, and, like, it's,
okay.
like, right across the street from, like, where, it was a Philly con, and it's right
Ooh,
across the street from, like, where I go to the premieres anyway, and I messaged them because I kinda bounced with them a little bit, and I was like, I usually drive an hour to go to these press screenings anyway. I might as well come in and, like, see what this is all about." And I talked
yeah.
to them, that was great, but then I was, like, walking around looking at, like, the guests and stuff like that, and I agree, man, it doesn't work for me. Like, I mean, I guess
Eh,
it's cool, but, like, I don't
for
know, it's
some,
a lot of standing around and standing in line and
oh yeah,
yeah.
that's what I hear too. Because I do have I also have another mod. Rob, shouts out to Rob out here in California. Goes to every single one. He's a diehard as well, and that's what he says as well. He loves meeting people and getting their signature. It doesn't matter how much they charge, because from the prices he tells me, this is like outrageous for some people. But it's the wait times, and if you've grown up, especially if you're older, if you've grown up with a lot of these characters that are these people that portray these characters from like 40 years ago, 50 years ago sometimes, that are at these Comic Cons. This is legendary stuff. Like, my buddy sends me pictures. He's met John Carpenter like 5 damn times,
Yeah.
and that's great, but he's charging like $150 each time.
Yeah.
And it's like, I understand it. Like, I would love to see John Carpenter live, like playing live. Like, that'd be awesome.
How does that even work? Do you think, like, every time he goes, "Okay, so as we were talking about last time, when I said yada, yada, yada," and he's like, "All right, you spent $200, I'll give you another 5 minutes." Like, how does that even work?
Yeah.
It can't be very
Yeah.
fulfilling, right?
I do kind of wonder because sometimes you'll see interviews from people at Comic-Con and they'll take the actor along, on the side, and they'll be like, "Hey, can I interview you for 5 minutes
Sure.
or something?" It's like, does that cost an extra like couple $100, or how does
I
that
don't
work?
know, because I've seen, like, Dead Meat and channels like that do that, and exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about. I would feel so rude doing
yeah.
that, being like, having the camera right there and be like, "So, when you were filming this movie, what did you mean when you did that?" It'd be like, I don't know. I don't know, it's just but that's just me. I see it that way. So, okay, so I think we're in agreement
Yeah.
here. 28 years later, Megan
Most
2.0.
anticipated, yeah.
Right, Megan 2.0, which is gonna be exactly what you imagine on
Oh,
steroids, right?
it
Just
looks so batshit crazy. Like, I keep
right.
seeing the trailer, and I saw it at home at first just for shits and giggles, and I'd done an actual reaction for that with my wife, and we were just chuckling the whole time and laughing out loud. And this second one was like, okay, they know it's meta as hell, and they're just upping the ante. Like, she's flying like on that squirrel suit or whatever, and I'm like, this is gonna be great. Like, this is gonna be so much
Right,
fun.
I'll admit, when I first saw the first movie, I was like, "This is gonna be kinda schlocky," and then I walked out
Yeah.
going I was talking to another film critic, and I was telling him, I was like, it's not a great movie, but I think it's a great entry point if you have, like, a kid who's, like, 12, and you kinda
Hmm.
wanna, like, nurse them into, like, the horror movies and stuff like that without, like, slamming them across the face with, like, Hereditary. Do you know what I
That's
mean?
oh
It's
yeah,
it's like a nice
that's true.
entry point, I feel. And it's got some it's okay. It's like
That's
the
that's
fast
funny.
food of horror movies today.
That's funny that you say that because someone was asking, because I remember I'd seen that movie from A24, the Legend of Ochi
Okay.
recently, and someone was like, "This is a great entryway into A24 for children," and I was
Right.
thinking that you can't really say that about many A24 movies. So I guess if we're
It's
talking about the
true.
Blumhouse realm, I guess it would be Megan because everything else is a little bit tame. You have your bad apples, of course, like Truth or Dare, which was like probably the worst of the list, I guess. I never saw it. I just know that it's like the low tier stuff out there. But I don't know what you would call like an introduction to Blumhouse because I I, I I don't know.
Blumhouse can
What,
be
what would you
pretty
say?
bad. I remember, like, the first
Oh,
movie of
very bad.
last year, like, they kicked it off in January with Night
Night
Swim.
Swim. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and the
I
tra
I avoided that like the plague.
and it was the first movie I saw of the year. I'm like, "Here we go, everybody. I'm all jazzed already," and then it just took the wind right out of my sails. It was like the trailer was
Yeah,
very obtuse, where you're, like, vague enough, and then you watch the movie and you're like, "Oh."
yeah.
Yikes. I remember when they during the pandemic days when they had the Welcome to Blumhouse, like, 4 movie thing on Amazon. Do you remember those? They were pushing those. It was like 4
Blumhouse.
TV movies, and it's
I
called
might have
Welcome
seen
to
the advertisements, but
Blumhouse.
I never saw it. No.
They were like, Kmart versions of, like, Black
Okay,
Mirror
well, that's throwback.
episodes. Yeah, they're like Dollar Tree versions of that. They're not good.
Okay.
Joey
Blue
King is
light
always
special.
awful in everything. Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And
Jamie
then
King.
the third one that won, it's funny you mentioned, like, it's the lowest on yours, it's the lowest on mine, the I Know What You Did Last Summer reboot. That
Hmm.
looks rough, man. It's like when you take a movie that was basically inspired because the first Scream made a lot of money, so, like,
Yeah.
they basically greenlit whatever Wes Craven had I'm sorry, Kevin Williamson had in the writing bin. They're like, "Fine, we'll make your I Know What You Did Last Summer movie," which was pretty much just a Scream cash grab. Then they made a
Mhm.
sequel, then they reboot Scream again with 5 and 6, and now they're cashing in on that, on the copy of the copy of the copy, to the point of, like, I don't know,
Yeah.
man. You got, like, Instagram influencers as, like, your leads. You're dusting off, Freddie Prinze and Jennifer Love Hewitt. I'll
Yeah.
I'll be there because I wanna be part of the conversation. I'm a horror fan, but, like, I'm not going in there
Mhm.
with, like, "This is gonna be cinema." This is not gonna
That's why
be, yeah.
oh, yeah, no, not cinema at all. I mean, that's why it's so refreshing, like, watching and this I will say, when you asked me to watch, or talk about Jason Lives, and I rewatched that one, and I remembered why I had avoided that movie, but I
Yeah.
regret doing that, is because every time I get to that paintball scene, it takes me out of the movie. It's a little bit not goofy,
It's no, it's
but it's
goofy. It's very good
yeah,
when you have
it's different, right?
it's very goofy. Let's get into the movie now. Well, actually, you know what? Before that, let's just get some news stories out of the way because I want to talk
Sure,
about
sure,
that
sure.
paintball scene. Um,
Absolutely.
so let's just go over here for a second. That's our main movie. The Backrooms was officially greenlit by A24. It's going to be filming this summer. Kane Parsons, who created the Backrooms, he's going to be like one of the youngest directors to do a full length feature. It's gonna be A24. It's gonna be big. Chiwetel Ejiofor. I'm sorry, Chiwetel Ejiofor, the guy from 12 Years a Slave, Life of
Oh
Chuck,
yeah. Mhm.
Doctor Strange. He's going to be the lead. What are your thoughts? Do you have any history with the Backrooms, the games, anything like that?
So this is very interesting to me. I knew once it gained popularity, like something would happen from this, as far as from the media, or entertainment sphere.
Mm-hmm.
So when this came out, I don't know what you classify this as. It's not creepy pasta, but it's like it's called something, right? Like on Reddit. I don't really know what it's called, but they have this a term for it. But I mean, I'm old as hell. I'd have to do my
Same.
research on this. But I thought it was very fascinating, and then I saw a bunch of people trying to replicate it, and then when I found out that this kid, when he made it, was like 16 or something like that, or
Something
even
like that.
younger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
just made
yeah.
it on Blender, I believe, and I thought it was very well made, very extremely creepy. I subscribed right away so I could follow kind of extensively. I didn't go, too deep into it, but I just followed the videos that would pop up. I thought it was very well made, and if I'm being honest, so who's doing this? Okay, A24. Okay.
A24.
Um, I think if they let him have a lot of creative control, this can be something beautiful. And I mean, very artistic and thought provoking as far as yes, this is obviously something that I think a lot of us may think about at certain times of I mean, it's brought up, right? Are we living in a matrix? Like, is there a no
Right.
clipping zone? Like, are there things out of our elements? I mean, there's people out there that don't think birds are real. They think birds are drones, like that have like spy cameras in them. If you don't believe me, please search that. It's crazy. But like, there are these things out there that people subscribe to, like conspiracies, that I think are fun, and I think this is definitely one of them that can get people talking, even if you have no clue what this Backrooms is. It just kind of piques your interest. I don't want them to steer too off course of what this is, because yeah, they're introducing Chiweedle. I forgot the other actor you talked about, but I don't want them to be like, because I know what they're gonna do. They're gonna make him like some kind of government agent, like trying to find this person that no clipped into the back room,
Sure.
or it might be the person that clipped into the back room trying to make contact, right, somehow.
Mhm.
And they're gonna make it like a crime, like a long legs Fargo type of thing, and I don't want that. I just want to see creepy, subtle, because that's right. I mean, because sometimes just really average settings can be the creepiest, I think personally, especially when they're dated, because I think that's what the whole Backrooms was like, based off of a dated picture that someone found. Liminal spaces, that's the term that I wanted to bring up. If you search liminal spaces, they're basically pictures that people have taken through time from the 80s and 90s, where you get this unsettling feeling from a very average, mundane, whatever it is, whether it's a picture of Chuck E. Cheese in the 80s, like,
Right.
wow, that looks kind of weird and dusty. Like, you could smell the photo almost.
Uh-huh.
But to us back in the 80s or 90s, like, that was average. But looking at it now, it's like, ooh, that's kind of creepy looking. Um, I think it's very interesting, and I really hope for its success. But we've seen things like this go sideways before.
True.
I don't want to. I don't want to compare it too much to Five Nights at Freddy's, because I never subscribed to the game at all. But I hear a lot of people either loved that movie or didn't like the movie if they were the player of the game. I'm not really sure. So,
I mean, I'm championing it just because it's like you have this like 19-year-old kid. So it's kind of
oh
like
yeah,
the makings of like your underdog story, right? Like if this works out great, it seems like the channel did. Can you make the leap from YouTube onto movies? I think they just delayed Shady Oaks from Chris Stuckman. That's his big movie. And
saw that.
there's a
What?
long list of YouTubers who tried to make the jump into movies. Like Netflix has kind of done a couple of them with well, like what was like the thinning or the who's the guy that fought Mike Tyson?
Um,
The YouTuber guy.
recently,
Yeah.
is it
Not
Logan Paul?
Logan Paul. Like Logan Paul had a movie and everyone was like, this is awful. So
Oh
it'd be
yeah.
great if he pulls it off. Like I was introduced into the back rooms when I was watching back when what was it? Film Theory used to do the videos on back
Oh,
when
those are
Matt Pat was still
his
on.
are cool. Yeah, yeah, his are cool.
Yeah, and like it kind of streamlined all of it. Like you didn't have to watch hours of footage. You kind of got the idea of what was, and I'm like they had like a whole theory behind it because it does have like that, like a modern day version perhaps of like Blair Witch Project or Paranormal Activity. Like this seems like the next chapter in that of like the found footage and lots of
Mm-hmm.
long shots with no cuts. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm pulling for them. I think it's a cool idea. I like the concept. I like anything that has lots of lore, like Terrifier, like this. Anything that can, the only thing that can mess up is that they over explain it, right? If they go too much into the lore of over explaining what it should be and what shouldn't be, it could totally mess it up in a way. It
Mm-hmm.
says here, A24 has greenlit the sci-fi horror film The Backrooms from filmmaker Kane Parsons at 19 years old, the youngest director in A24 history. The Backrooms is based on the world of Parsons' viral YouTube horror universe. His anthological series debuted in 2022, not that long ago, and has amassed over 190 million views to date. Production for the film
Wow.
is expected to start this summer.
That's great. I
So,
mean, I'm so happy for him, and like you had said, they're also doing that movie with Chris Tuckman,
Shady
Shady
Oak.
Oaks.
Mm-hmm.
Shady Oaks. I just saw the information on that. Kudos to Neon, man, because they're giving him extra money, I believe,
Yeah.
to shoot these like more scenes, like more extensive or gory scenes or something like that. And just give them they just have to give these people a chance. And low budgets, please,
Yes.
please,
Yes.
because
Learn from
this is where
Marvel.
we this is where we F up, is that sometimes they accept so much money and reshoots from these studios and they do not make a return, and the studios do not care if they do not see a return. The internet calls you a flop. It doesn't matter if you've been trying for this your whole life. You do not want to be thrown into that category. 2025 has been the year of flops. It's been tremendous, whether you're going mega studio with Marvel or small studios like A24, Blumhouse, and stuff like that, or Neon, or anything, or even straight to streamer stuff. I mean, De Niro just dropped one a couple months ago that it was an extreme flop, and I mean, we're talking about big names that are attached here, and they're not making a return. And there's many factors, and if you're gonna add a theatrical release to something like this, which I'm guessing they are, A24 usually does, they're going to put a little bit of money into it. And yes, it is up to us, the fans, to forcibly go check that out, whether the reviews are dog shit or not. Please go watch them, spread the word, and make your own determination. Because I'm going to say I'm a victim of it. Like, I read the early scores and reviews and stuff like that, and if they all kind of dogpile in sometimes, I will say, you know what? I
Maybe
might
wait.
want to save I might want to save a couple of hours and wait till streamer or something like that. And then I go, damn, I didn't support when I could have had the chance, and this was a great movie.
I just hope it's not like Skinamarink. Did you see that one?
Okay, let me tell you something about Skinamarink. So I lasted about 30 minutes, and I was like, what is the world talking about? I could not get through it. Did you like it?
I tried watching it once. I feel like this is also pandemic days a little bit. I don't know. It's a blur.
So, yeah.
The last 5 years are kind of a blur. But I remember
it
watching it like at home, and like I couldn't get into it. And I was watching it with my ex at the time, and then like we circled back to it, and I'm like, you know what? Let me take a gummy first, and then maybe that might help.
Yeah.
But largely, I was like, no, man, I can't believe this got all the promotion that it got. They really, again, I like your idea of keep it low budget. That's always been the success of like a horror movie. We're gonna be talking about Jason Lives. Like, these movies came out once a year at the time. I was watching the new one with my current girlfriend, and she was just like, "No, it can't be the year after. The one before that is." I'm like, "It didn't matter. They popped them out. This whole franchise is based off the idea of like the first Halloween made a lot of money, so they said we're gonna make Friday the 13th. They didn't have a story yet. They just had a title. They put it in a big spread on paper, and they didn't even know what it was yet. And once that hit, it's just like every year they made a sequel, another one, another one, another one. Let's pull up Jason. Where is it here?
I love every time. Is it Sean Cunningham when he explains about how literally we just had a name for it and we got all this backing, and I'm like, that is such like you said, an underdog little story, to something that catapulted in such a mega franchise. And I know we're going to talk about this, but I wanted to compare the cast that we were talking about before of I Know What You Did Last Summer, I Know What You Did Last Summer, the new one coming out. There's something about this Gen Z cast that has a completely different feel from the 80s or 90s kids. They just don't care anymore. Like, I know
it doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
that's like the thing to not care, like, and you know, you're so vain, and like, I understand you're playing characters, but no, like, I personally work with younger kids. They don't care. They really do
True.
not care about much, and they're, you know, I understand. And I have to jump back, you know, a little bit. Oh, 20 years ago, I was kind of the same way. I was very self-centered. I was thinking of in the moment type of stuff. So,
Hmm.
are we just the ones that are getting old, and now the decrepit old people that
I
are?
I ask myself that every day, man. I'm like, I'm 37 years old, and I'm just like, why do
I
I
just
feel
turned
like it's
40 this year. Yeah,
no? I know,
absolutely. Yeah,
big
85, man.
D. God damn, man. Well, happy you're old. You look great though, man.
Thanks.
I never would have. If you were like, I'm
Thanks,
28,
bro.
I'd be like, yeah, man. I mean, you know what? You got. I mean,
Moisturizer.
you got the hat on,
Moisturizer.
so like, I don't know how bad the hairline goes. You're trim. You look
About the
good.
same as yours. About the same as yours.
True, true, true. Yeah, I can't. No way you're 40, dude. Well, God
Yeah.
bless you, man. You're gonna
We
look
both
young
got
forever.
the 4 heads, 5 heads going on, you
You know what's
know?
great? You know what's crazy? Not to get off topic, but I'm like, I've looked at pictures of me from when I was like 22, 23, and I look at pictures of me from like last year, and I'm like,
Mhm.
not to sound vain, man. I feel like I look better now than I did when I was younger.
That's
Right?
good.
Like when you're younger, you have like zits and stuff, and like you got no fashion sense, and maybe your clothes are kind of whatever, and
Oh god.
you're making some bold
Yeah.
choices and stuff like that in life, and then like you look at it now, and you're like, I think I'm in my Clooney era, and clearly you are too, man.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that, man.
So yeah, because you're talking about the paintball scene. So let's dive right into this movie.
Sure.
Friday the 13th, part 6. Just to for those of you who don't remember, because these movies do blur together. If you need to remember anything, it's like the first one's pretty straightforward, right? If you've seen Scream, you know exactly what's up. Jason's mother was the killer because let Jason drown. The camp counselors weren't watching. That's part one. She gets her head lopped off. Part two is Jason with a bag on his head, running around. You got some great kills in that. Part three, personally, I don't love part three because like the whole gimmick was that it was in 3D, and
Yeah, that was a bit
you
goofy.
you have like the yo-yo going at your face and stuff like that. The big thing of note is that like it came out. It was a movie that gave Jason his mask because he picks it up
Yeah.
off of like somebody else. But like largely, it's like you have like biker gangs and like you have like, that barn scene and like again low budget. They shot it all in one location and they shot it on the cheap. Four is really good. I feel because like that's the one that has
Mhm.
what's that kid from the Lost Boys? I'm blanking out.
Corey Feldman.
Corey Feldman. Yeah, that's like during his time of Goonies and stuff like that. The Lost Boys. That was four is pretty good. I think this one has like Crispin Glover, right? He's doing that dance. He's
Oh
doing
yeah.
that.
God.
It's like this is good. This is good. Ted,
Thank
where's the
God he did
corkscrew?
thank God he did not last through the movie. I'll just
I
say
know. There's a lot of and I notice about these movies because we're jumping around. I'm like they went hard with like the nudity and the gore back then.
yeah.
There's a lot of
Yeah,
boobies in these movies.
and there's a lot, if you guys got them on physical, there's a lot of, like, deleted scenes and stuff like that that God, this is all Universal, right? From what I remember, or is it Paramount?
New
Oh, it's
is it? I think it's Paramount. Yeah,
okay,
because Freddy's New Line and Jason's
that's right.
Paramount.
Yeah, so they would just, no pun intended, butcher these scenes and leave everything on the cutting room floor. And then when you
Mm-hmm.
discover a lot of these Friday the 13th movies, the deleted scenes or the extended scenes, you're like, holy shit, please make like these like the uncut versions, just like the main movies. But I totally understand. You know, the MPAA was like just crazy back then. They didn't really want um much, being shown and stuff like that. But I was watching a lot of the behind the scenes for part six, and the director was, I forget the director's name, but he was saying that the studios love this one so much, like they were having a really good time, like they were talking through the movie and just giving notes to
Mm-hmm.
each other and stuff like that, and they were like, hey, can we add 3 more kills? And I'm like, that's kind of unusual to want more kills in the movie. So when we get
Yeah,
to it, I don't know if
it's
you know about the 3 kills they added in the movie.
I don't. I'd love to hear about it. But yeah, I
Okay.
do remember I
Yeah.
do remember what you're talking about, where like the MPAA was very strict on the gore. They would film all this stuff and then none of it would ever be used. Like you said, the deleted
Yeah.
scenes is where you could find it. But there still was more of like an element of fun where like it was over the top. It didn't take itself too seriously. This is like the MTV movie version. Like it's very poppy and flashy and it's borderline an action movie. Like there's that scene where
Mhm.
like the RV tips over and it's going down the road and it's on fire and he's standing on top of it. Like it's very
with the
I don't
rock
know.
music playing and the guys
Yeah,
are like,
it's just I'm very nostalgic for a movie that I wasn't even alive for yet. It just has that vibe to
yeah,
it, you know? Like, even the opening,
absolutely.
right? Because look at this. Look at that, man. Come on.
Yeah, so you know what's funny is that I forgot, maybe I saw this in a lower quality the first time. I forgot how his face looked in that coffin. He looks like some kind of okay. So you remember Mortal Kombat, the Mortal Kombat
Yes.
movie? He
Yes.
looks like. Remember when they're like kind of transforming like from human to like not animal, but like there's a scene where it might be actually when they're doing the animality or something. Shao Kahn or something is changing into something. His face looks like that. Like it doesn't look human. It looks like a creature, like a gargoyle or something to
Well,
me.
he's like zombified at this point because 4 ends with little Tommy Jarvis. There's 2
Hmm.
Tommies. It's Corey
There's
Feldman.
three.
3.
In the fifth one, there's a Tommy as well, who's a completely different guy.
Right, correct. Right.
Yeah.
There's multiple Tommies. I always mix up Tommy from Halloween and Tommy from
Oh yeah,
Friday
yeah,
the 13th because like yeah, there's 2 of them. But basically, little Tommy Jarvis,
yeah.
he kills Jason with a machete at the end of the 4th one. He does
Yeah.
that bullshit where he's like, "I am you. I shaved my head," and that
Yeah.
worked. The 5th one is
Well,
yeah,
I mean, he tricked him in the sense as in part two, how
correct.
our final girl tricked Jason with the
The
sweater
sweater
and
and yeah,
whatnot.
yeah,
Also too, remember, I mean, at the end of part four, when he doesn't just hack him in the face, he starts hacking him like afterwards, just saying die, die. It's like,
it
well, where is he
makes
hitting him?
no
Is he hitting him in the
sense.
head, or is he hitting him in the body? Like, because
Yeah,
it looks like
it
everything's still
doesn't
intact.
matter. It's one of those movies too that like kind of like Halloween where they try to infer that the cliffhanger is gonna be like, someday the child's going to be evil and going to take over the franchise.
Like in Halloween 4, yeah. You know what? And
Exactly.
I wish it would have went that way too, because I was a huge. I mean, I have a Halloween 4 shirt, and everyone makes fun of me for liking that movie. That one has one of the best. That was kind of like the revamp of. Well, I mean, because of part 3, it didn't have Michael Myers in it, so they're like, everyone's like, we want Michael back. So Mustafa Akkad was like, okay, we got to bring him back. It opened exactly the way I thought Haddonfield should have. It felt like a Haddonfield Halloween movie, and then it left on that cliffhanger that went nowhere in part 5.
Correct.
Absolutely nowhere, and I hated part 5 for that.
Yeah. Well, part 5 of this movie is like the worst
Oh,
one because it's like it's not even really Jason under the mask. It's like you got that really annoying fat kid with the candy bar doing his shenanigans. Like 5 is a
yeah.
blind spot. I know again, when I watch it, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I've seen this and I hate it." But 6 is the one that like we're going to pull ourselves up from our bootstraps. We're going to get the ball rolling. The
Yeah.
movie starts with a recast version of Tommy Jarvis and he's just like, "You know what? I need to go and make sure Jason is dead." He sneaks out of the insane asylum with his buddy. They go to the cemetery and they do everything wrong. They do everything wrong that would have avoided all of this. He was asleep in his coffin. They go
Yeah.
in there, they dig him up. They're gonna pour gasoline on him, but then they take like a rod and like from like the gate, big metal rod, and put it right into his center so that he could be struck by lightning and be brought back to life. Right?
Oh yeah.
And we get this. Let's see. I think I have a few
Frank, we
images.
get we get we have Frankenstein, Franken Jason.
Yes, we have this lovely shot, this James Bond intro where he slashes the screen. I mean,
That's
they
so
lean into
funny.
the comedy. They're like, at this point, it's like Freddy. Like, we're just doing comedy, we're doing jokes, we're gonna have some fun. And I think it
But
really works.
that's oh, absolutely, because that's what Jason needed. As far as he was already kind of like a household name back then. I mean, I was born in the 80s, but raised in the 90s. But who was taking over though as a household name as far as like being like the more just charismatic horror villain? It was definitely Freddy. I mean, he was the one that was more animated, like he had more lines. I mean, Chucky was coming into the scene, right? And he had lines.
Sure.
Well, these are very clever characters. Jason, Michael did not say a word. Later on, Ghostface. I mean, these are all masked characters that don't say anything, right?
Hmm.
So you got to add a little bit of flair to Jason. You got to be. I mean, he gets beefed up. I mean, my favorite is still Kane Hodder. I mean, he's in the later series, but I really like this one. I believe his name was CJ something Graham or something like that. Forget the actor's name that played Jason in this one. Also, the story. Do you know the story about the guy who plays Jason in this movie?
I do not. What do
So
you got?
this main just sorry, that's the trivia. Just because the behind the
No,
scenes,
I
I was
love
watching
it. Yeah.
Um, this I believe CJ Graham, thank you, Q, in the chat. He went to audition for this because people liked his build or whatever, and I think he had done like some shows or stunt work before. But he was ultimately not hired for this gig. They went with another guy. The guy that they initially wanted did not perform as well as they wanted on the dailies once they replayed him. So 2 days later, they called this guy CJ back and they said, "Hey, can you fill in for this guy? He just doesn't have the walk. He doesn't have the mannerisms of the Jason we want." Ultimately leading to him playing this, which I think this guy is a great Jason.
He is, yeah.
Yeah.
Although it's funny, I was watching this and I was watching Freddy versus Jason after that because my girlfriend wanted to watch it. And like, he's not very big in this one if you look at him. He's kind of like an average guy. He's supernatural, doesn't matter. But like, it seems like with every movie they make Jason taller. Like he's like a big, like if you watch Freddy versus Jason, it's just so extreme in the opposite direction of like he's like 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
And you're like, come on, man. He's like moving
Somewhere
over.
somewhere down there in the muck and watery, pit, he was over there slamming steroids. I don't know.
Yep. But Tommy, for reasons that can't be explained, inadvertently brings Jason back, Frankenstein style. He slashes the screen, and then we get straight into what you're talking about, the paintball scene. And
Oh
that's where
no.
we have like a bunch of dudes. The one guy is incredibly sexist, right? Because like he gets shot by like the blonde girl, and he's like, and she's kind of
Yeah,
like,
he
and you
was.
know what? For back in the day, like she wasn't like girl bossing it. She was just like a woman's touch. It was kind of funny. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
But then he goes
She's
straight into like he's got the machete and he's cutting the branches. He's like, stupid woman, get back in the kitchen, make me a sandwich. And you're just like, what are
yeah,
you doing?
the classic sandwich line, and she's only the token woman there, the only woman
Yeah,
and I
yes.
believe it's a an executive retreat or something like that. They all went
It's
out to the
yeah,
woods for like
it's
this
like
company game or something.
a company team meeting building type of thing. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah. That was pretty funny.
just to get some extra kills in there, it feels like, because they have no connection to the plot whatsoever. Like, I mean, the three guys get shot through the head like all at once, like like three.
Yeah.
I was waiting for like 1,000 points, Jason. Like
Well, that scene also too had an extended scene where they build a whole cast mold of each one of their heads, and when he lops them off, they were supposed to go flying off the screen just like bloody, but the MPAA said nope, that's too much. Don't even
Mhm.
show it. Just show the bodies fall, and that's what we saw.
Yep. And then we have Tommy Jarvis who rushes to the police station with our Donald Sutherland looking sheriff. Who's of course you have to have the cliche of like the sheriff with the daughter. The daughter's like a troublemaker who's like, "Daddy, I'm gonna do what I want."
Oh
You
yeah,
have like the sidekick guy, the deputy who's got that line. He's got like the laser pointer gun. And he's like, "Hey, wherever the doc goes, you bang!" Right?
yeah,
You
bang.
get all this stuff in this movie that kind of makes it very charming.
And how big was that laser sight? Jesus Christ.
Huge, dude.
That thing
Huge.
was a cat.
Nigga
That
was
looked like
compensating.
some kind of pipe bomb or something. Yeah, it was
Uh-huh.
wild.
And of course, it's the same thing where it's just like, you have to believe me, Sheriff. Jason's back. You gotta, warn everybody. He's like, get the hell out of my town. He
Yeah.
drives them out of. I think he locks them up, and then like the following day, he drives them out of town to like where the city line ends, and just says, "Don't come back. You're done." But not before the daughter comes over and like, hey, Tommy's kind of cute. I think I'm gonna piss off my dad again and see what I
Be
can get
rebellious.
into.
Yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we
This is
have all.
this is actually a pretty fun group that we got into. What do you think about this friend group that we got? I like the kid with the ripped up jeans. He was pretty funny.
I think they're pretty fun. My favorite character is the because they're very Saved by the Bellish.
Yeah.
There's the one girl, the one black girl looks just like Kelly from Saved by the Bell.
Oh
Like the
yeah.
hair, the outfit, the whole getup is just like that. This is Saved by the Bell, and I love that,
Oh
man.
yeah.
The costumes are iconic. I can see like why they would get like figurines and stuff like that because they're very distinctive for the franchise.
Absolutely.
You also have like the younger kids because you have like the teenagers and you have like the younger kids, and this is where the dead meat gets its intro because you have like two young boys under the bed, and he's like, what do you want to do? What did you want to do when you grow up? He's like, oh no. He's like, I think we're dead meat, real
Yeah.
dead meat. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the thing. So
Yeah.
you have lots of that. You bring all the young kids in. The teenagers are kind of like trying to safeguard them the best they can, and then from there it's just like your typical it's just your typical slasher. You got like Camp Crystal Lake, or it's
Mhm.
one of the lakes around it. Jason shows up, takes them out one by one. Do you have a favorite kill in this movie?
Ooh. Um, you know what? They were all pretty satisfying, like,
Down in the
they're
chat, throw some out.
yeah, put some in the chat, please, please, please. Also, I wanted to ask you, is this the first time we see kids in, Camp Crystal Lake? I mean,
It
oh,
might
besides,
be. I feel
as
like
far
it's
as, like, them part of the
I feel
mayhem?
yeah, someone pointed out to me recently that like 3 of the Jason movies take place within like 72 hours of each other. Like 2, 3, and
What?
4, 2, 3, and 4, from what I was hearing online, was like all 3 of them like take place within 72 hours, which is
How?
crazy. I guess they just well, I guess like 3 picks up from 2, 4 picks up from 3 a little bit. That could be
There's
wrong. Comment down below.
yeah, I have to rewatch those endings then, I guess. That's it. You gotta do some ending explained tie-ins or
I
something. I
know,
don't
right? I should cover them all on the channel. I've never covered these movies before. It feels like a
Oh,
easy
okay.
staple. Um,
Yeah, yeah. But as far as kills go, I really enjoyed pretty much all of them. I thought the one inside the car with I'm sorry, inside the motorhome with the girl in the
yes.
restroom, and he just slams her head. I mean, you don't see anything. I just thought it was the most fun and creative. Obviously, you see the mold of her face just kind of being pushed until she suffocates, I guess. Um, I actually like Jason's kill at the end because when they're just kind of just sawing through his neck
Uh-huh.
when he's kind of just hanging there, floating underwater. I thought that was pretty cool. Um, but as far as just a camp counselor death, probably the Kelly lookalike, like you said, where she gets her head pretty much ripped off, like
Turned all
turned
the way
all the way
around. Yeah,
around.
yeah, yeah.
I'm a fan of a good head turn. Like I don't know why.
Yeah, there's a
I love it. Yeah.
and to be fair, I just watched this movie, and
Yeah.
trying to remember all the kills, I'm like, I'm coming up short. But the one that I remember being the best is the
Yeah.
sheriff, because he's basically just split backwards.
Oh, that's right. That's yeah. He got done like that was like a hatchet death.
Yeah, he gets folded like a bed, man. He just kind of gets, and
Yeah.
they show the behind the scenes, like they dug a hole for him. He's got to stand in it, and then they just kind of, it's
Yeah.
great. He tries shooting
Kind of
him,
like how
nothing
they did the
happens.
was it the what's the one where they do it in is that Freddy versus Jason, the bed scene?
That's Freddy versus Jason too. Yeah, they did the same kind of like bending
Yeah.
body thing. Yeah,
That has the best kill scene with the cornfield when Jason's coming out just massacring everybody. I love that scene.
but
So awesome.
plot wise, it's pretty basic. Like you show a couple of camp counselors getting killed off. Um, the daughter decides that she's gonna help Tommy. She's like, she gets
Mhm.
information. She's like, they're looking for you. I got my, I'll meet up with you. We'll get supplies. We'll take care of Jason. And he's basically just like, we have to return Jason to where he was from. He has to go back to Camp Crystal Lake, original burial place, which makes you wonder, like, dude was fine in the coffin until you woke him up.
Yeah, and he was planning to burn him anyway. So what are you talking about taking him back to that was not his initial plan to ever do that. Like,
Unclear.
yeah.
But that
Also,
is
why did he take his buddy along? Why did he have to take his buddy along?
cannon fodder, man. We have like X amount of kills per minute. You know what I mean? Every 8 minutes, we
True.
got to do a kill.
Yeah,
And
true,
that's kind
true.
of your plot, man. Like, there's a great. You have
Yep.
the RV scene, right? That's pretty great. You have the two people in the back. The other guy looks like Slater from Saved by the Bell. He's got the earring, and this dude just loves driving an RV, right? Because they start
Oh
getting
yeah.
it on, and they hear a noise. They're gonna leave, and he's like, "I'm gonna drive, okay? Yeah, I'm gonna drive. I never driven an RV before." And he's just like, "This is great. It's great." Doesn't hear the girl behind him getting killed. Alice Cooper is blasting on the radio because there was like a tie-in with Alice Cooper. Not a great song. And
Okay.
eventually they tip over the RV and Jason gets on top. It's on fire and he's standing there all menacing and stuff like that. And that's
Very cool scene. Yeah.
very, very epic scene. It's kind of what I remember from the film. Like it's very extra, you know what I'm saying? And then when we get to the
Mhm.
camp, all of our characters meet up there. The sheriff gets killed off pretty easy. He tries shooting it a couple times. Doesn't really seem to take, but he gives it his best before he gets folded in half.
Yeah.
None of the children die, which is good.
Getting close though. What that one
Yeah,
girl, little blonde girl, he like got close to her face, and he was like chasing her the whole time, pretty much.
pretty sure pretty much all the
Yeah.
teenagers get killed pretty easily.
Yeah.
Again, none of them were distinctive enough, like to actually remember them. Like I remember the guy in the RV, and I remember the girl that you said she got her head turned around.
Yeah.
Again, back in the day, man, they did a lot of this like off-screen kind of stuff where it was kind of like you see it, we're done, next scene.
Yeah.
Um, But the big scene is like the finale when we get Jason and the girl and Tommy, and he's got like this giant rock on this rowboat, and he's got the chains on it, and he's gonna be like, "Oh, I'm gonna noose him with these chains." Jason comes like walking into the lake, and he just like breaks the damn boat in half, and they sink him. He tries to drown Tommy underwater a little bit, but eventually they're able to get away and return Jason to his final resting place, which is Camp Crystal Lake with the chain around his neck. And
Which, yeah, he's still there to this day, actually. I mean, if you
to
look it
this
up,
day,
there's,
yeah,
someone made that actual replica and put it at the bottom of the lake. And there's
I've seen that.
actual, yeah, that's a real thing, dude.
That's awesome.
Jason's really down there. So, I mean, if you ever want to go scuba diving, you could possibly find him. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how accurate this Crystal Lake is. I mean, because in this one, they actually filmed it in North Carolina, I believe, or somewhere down, or Georgia, I believe it was Georgia. So
Right.
it's nowhere near, where's it, Jersey or wherever
Jersey, yeah. They're filming
yeah.
there right now,
So,
actually.
for Camp Crystal Lake? I mean, for the prequel?
For the prequel TV show, which is probably gonna be on, I'm
Yeah.
guessing Peacock. That's what I heard.
Peacock. Yeah, yeah, with Linda Cardellini.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to that.
Do you think that can sustain a TV series though? Like 9 episodes of filling in the gaps of things we already know.
It's going to be interesting these first couple of episodes, because I think for the diehards, yes, but for people that are just kind of like, oh, like I remember Jason or whatever, I don't think it's going to be a complete sell for them. It's going to be a niche type of show. I think it's not going to probably kick in like most shows do until probably halfway through. You're going to get an extreme amount of exposition. You're going to get, I
Easter
don't really know
eggs.
much yeah, I don't really know much detail, so I'm just guessing. Just I'm sure exposition, possibly with the dad to see what the dad. Hopefully they don't go. See, this is the thing. We're not talking. Jason is not the same as Freddy in the fact that, and I always get shit for this one too. Q knows it in the Q reviews in the chat. I told him that I like Freddy's Dead
Yeah.
mainly for the back lore of his father, and they talk about that and how menacing his father was to him, also played by Alice Cooper. So we get to see him, whipping him and stuff like that. So we get to see the
Robert
makings of him.
England.
Yeah, Robert. No,
Yeah.
but the dad is played by Alice Cooper. No,
Freddy's dad?
father. Yeah, in
I
the
think
movie.
Freddy's dad is played by Robert England as well. Because they have that
No, no,
scene
no,
where
no.
like the nun is being taken advantage of by all the insane asylum guys, and one of them is Robert
When
England.
when he goes down into the basement when he's a teenager. When this is Robert England when he's a teenager, or Freddy when he's a teenager. I'm gonna show you, dude.
Down in the chat, help us out.
Alice Cooper. Let's see. Freddy's. Yeah, Freddy's dead. Alice Cooper. I mean, you can pull up a picture. I have it right here on my phone.
Sure.
You can't tell it's him because he has obviously no makeup on. He just has a hat and a. It's
Yeah.
1991, but yeah, see right there in Q reviews, it's saying
Okay.
Alice Cooper played Freddy's dad. Give it a rewatch. It's about a couple of minutes, but it adds, I think, to the story of, once again, the character that he becomes. We don't know much about Jason's dad, but I don't think we need to know that he did anything, because we know that Jason's already he doesn't have that killer instinct. He's someone that died because he wasn't being looked after, and he was already mentally disabled and disfigured and stuff like that. So it's not like he was evil to begin with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Freddy
Mhm.
was literally kind of like, he came out like the spawn of Satan, kind of, So
Well,
I don't know.
in the second one, the final girl is sitting at the bar with her friends, right? All the couples stay at the house. Like you have like the Superman dude in the wheelchair and the girl, but then at the bar you have like our final character and some other ones, and they're talking about like the lore of what could be going on, and the verbiage is kind of like, oh, this aged great. Because they're just like, she's just like, what if he's just like a frightened retard? And you're like, oh shit, this is not. It's fine. It's fine for YouTube. Apparently that word's okay now. But like, it's funny watching that movie now, where you're just like, yeah, he's basically a simpleton. I mean, it does kind of fall apart in the respect of like, Pamela Voorhees comes back to get revenge for Jason, who died because he drowned, but then he didn't really drown. He just kind of died. He's undead. Now he's coming back to get revenge for Pamela, who then they killed. And you're kind of just like, all right, I guess I follow that.
Yeah.
Shut up and
I
consume.
pretty much because like you, I also watched part 2. I was sick for the last 4 days. I'm like 90% recovered right now. So I just watched part 2 and then part 6 and I had a blast with them. And I forgot how slow some of these movies were because part 2 had its slow points as well. Even part 6 a little bit in the middle when damn Tommy keeps getting locked up left and right. But
Yeah,
there is a couple of, that whole campfire scene and I personally like that where the group is
I do
together
too.
telling the story because
Yeah,
yeah, maybe for a modern audience it might not be too engaging, but it adds to the spooky mystery of everything, even if you have heard it before.
yeah,
And it also does tell, like you said, Jason was watching from the water as his
right.
mom got beheaded. Well, how do we know that? Just popped his head up and just was watching, and then he just goes back down. And like, oh, in a couple of years, I'm coming back when I'm 18 or whatever.
He's like, I got my calendar. It's almost Friday the 13th. Hold on.
Yeah, yeah. So there's that whole aspect of okay, he drowned, so he's dead,
Right.
but then he also comes back as what? Like, what is he initially? Because he's in a coffin now, but then he gets resurrected as zombie. But it's like, how can you be a zombie when you already were a zombie,
Well, now he's a
right?
Frankenstein because they electrocute
Or
him back to
Frankenstein?
life. That's kind of what
Yeah,
they. But yeah, I kind of always labeled him as just being undead. I mean, we never
yeah,
see like a magical book that brings him back or anything like that. It's just kind of
yeah.
understood that Jason wants revenge and shut up and consume.
Wait till
Right? I
part eight,
mean,
my
maybe I'm
friend.
missing something. Yeah.
Wait till part 8. One of my favorites, where he becomes not telepathic, but he can teleport. I love that
Yes.
teleportation, Jason. And everybody hates that movie, and I will defend that one as well. So if you want to talk that
Which
ever
one?
in the future, part 8.
Is that Jason Takes Manhattan?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you got a great shot of him going down Times Square. That's the best when he kicks the
Oh,
boombox,
lovely. Yeah.
right? Like that's
Yeah.
but you're right. When you watch them on the ship and it's so boring. I can't watch that movie. It's so boring.
Oh,
He's
it's fun.
not able to get from like steerage to like the top of the boat back down to the like there's no way.
There's a scene in I mean there's a couple scenes where he does teleport. You can look stuff on YouTube too. They have because that was a constant debate. Can he teleport? Can he not? And I guess in part 8 you see it the most. But there's a scene when it's a very simple kill where he kills this girl inside of an empty like a dance hall. Like there's like the
Yeah,
music like
mirrors and
blaring and stuff like
stuff.
that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and she's like sees Jason, and then she like turns around, and then there he is again, and then she turns around, and then he's on the opposite side of the room. It's like, whoa, wait a minute, other shit is at play here, and he just grabs her and chokes her, slams her, and I'm like, Kane Hodder, baby, that's how you brutal. He's just brutal, and at this point, once again, we're talking about the undead, we're talking about an entity, some kind of weird presence that's out there. That movie just goes so sideways, and I loved it. But this one was a very, very fun one that I'm glad I rewatched in the series for
Yeah.
sure.
I watched 2 and 6 too, but going back to 8,
Yeah.
um it has one of my favorite kills of all time because it's like you have this one character who's like a boxer type character, and
Oh
he's
yeah.
on the rooftop and he's like, "Come on, man, come on, give me!" And like it's just like he punches him, he punches him. Jason does one swing, his head goes flying off, it goes spinning like a soccer ball down the side of a building into a
Yeah.
trash can. The trash can closes the top, and I'm just like, cinema.
It was brilliant. Jason lets this guy punch him, and I think the reason why is because he probably is not
Respect.
used to anyone. Yeah, respect. Probably not, hey, take some licks off of me. Plus, you're punching a damn mask too. You're not punching flesh. And so it's
Yeah,
gotta hurt, right? But he's letting this guy punch him for about 4 to 5 minutes, like
it goes
nonstop.
on.
It just
Yep.
goes on until this guy gets winded, and then he just grabs him by the shirt, boom, and just knocks his block off literally. And it is beautiful. It is great. And that encapsulates the fun that this series kind of went into because I
Yep.
think the first maybe 3 or even 4 were extremely serious. Like they were trying to take them, I mean, even in 5, because 5 had a very serious tone of like you didn't know what was going on, type. Um, and then they just started having fun once I think we started getting into part 6 with the paintball and different aspects of it, like the 007 intro and stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah, they had fun with it. Yeah, Julian in the chat, Q is saying it was Julian that got his head knocked off.
Yep.
Rest in
I
peace.
think I think people hate 8 too because, like, there's a scene, like, they're in the sewer and, like, he looks like I don't even his face is like a
Yeah.
green melty skull, and you're like, "What is
Yeah,
this, man?"
yeah. I mean, as a kid, I remember watching that, and I was like, "This is cool and scary." But rewatching it, I'm like, "Oh," and not even to forget about the part when he turns back into a child.
Yeah,
Do you remember that?
yeah.
I'm like, "What is the point? What is the purpose of it didn't make any sense because I mean, it is something that they introduced back into Freddy vs. Jason, which you just rewatched. Is
Right.
they go, oh, Jason's afraid of water, and I'm like, no, he's
Sure.
not. He's in water all the time. What the fuck
See,
are you
that's
talking
that's a
about?
good point, isn't it?
You
It's what
know?
they wanted to have the extreme of like fire versus water. That's the best I could figure they were doing in
Yeah,
2002. I don't
possibly.
know because it is a little weak. It's like, dude, you live in the fucking water. You walk in and out of it all the time
Yeah.
in
So the
slow
whole
mo.
thing, yeah, going back to 8, the sewer just floods with sewage or whatever. It's funny because this is like New York, and you always think of sludge and
Yeah.
slime and ooze, like Ninja Turtles living under the sewer and stuff.
Q
And
review Q review said his face looks like doo doo in part 8. Yeah, it does. Green, very lots of fiber.
it, yeah, it wasn't that great, but I I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, so the sewage is rising, and then he pretty much drowns in the sewage, which you're like, okay, so now he's back to drowning again. And it's like,
Sure.
I guess, you
This
know,
is this is what happens when you have too many writers across the sequels across the years. It kind of just goes, just
I
get them
want to see the
out, just get
behind.
them out.
Yeah, I wanted to see the behind the scenes of that because that movie went in so many damn directions. I mean, New Jersey lake connects somehow to the Atlantic Ocean. I don't know how that works, but
Yeah, teleportation, man, teleportation.
you
It's
can
funny. It's
teleport a whole
funny.
boat.
It's funny you were saying about the scene where like it goes on for like 4 minutes with the boxing guy in 8.
Mhm.
Because I was watching the new one, or I was watching these movies, 6 and 4 with Wes, and she was like, "How long is this movie?" Because we've been going to the movies, and like every movie lately, Mission Impossible, Bloodlines, whatever, it's always like 2.5 hours. Mission Impossible was like 3 hours long, so now we're just kind of like, how long is this movie? Because like I need to know. And like if you watch any of these original sequels, they're like a tight 88 minutes. And I was explaining to her,
Yeah.
like back then, these were movies that were B movies, and like they would actually like let them drag out because sometimes they would only have like an hour of footage. And
Yeah,
like the studio would be like, look,
absolutely.
70 minutes is not going to cut it. We need 90 minutes, go back. So you always have like, there's always an excess of previously on Friday the 13th. And like you said, you have like the camp counselor who's narrating. And at the time, you didn't have Blu rays and VHS and DVDs where like, you had it fresh in your mind. You're like, yeah, I saw it, but like camp movie, got it. I kind of always enjoyed those back flashbacks of previously on Friday the 13th. And it's like we see all the kills. It kind of also gets you in the mood if you're going to have to like sit and watch a lot of exposition, and
Yeah.
camp counselor's just kind of bullshitting, flirting, getting it on.
Mhm.
Um,
I mean,
but
like
yeah,
you said, like real quick, like you said in the second one. I mean, they literally rehashed the ending of the whole first movie.
yep,
And I was watching, and I was like, damn, this is still. It's like 6 minutes, 7 minutes of this, just to get to the scene where they kill the final girl from the final movie. And also too, I heard that they did not tell that girl they were going to kill her off. You know that?
really.
Yeah, they're like, we want you back for Friday the 13th Part 2. And she's like, oh great, and they literally kill her off in the first scene.
We're watching that too. It was like it seemed like something went amiss because like they seemed to have her for shooting for like 2 or 3 days maybe, and they're like, look, we're gonna get as much screen time out of you because we just
Yeah.
follow her from like her bed into the kitchen. She's making tea. She's on the phone. It's very reminiscent of Scream. It does feel like Scream kind of saw this and
A
was
little
like
bit, yeah.
the Drew Barrymore scene. It's like we're following her to the stove, and then she's on the phone, and then she walks
Mhm.
back. The mom is like, I'm okay. She's like, this is just who I am now. I have PTSD. Ah. And then finally, Jason kind of makes an entrance, but like we killed like 12 minutes with like what they probably shot in a day. And that's
Yeah.
unheard of. Usually in big production films, you film like for a full day, you got maybe 2 minutes of finished product that makes it into the film. This is like, nope, we're gonna put as
Yeah.
much as we can into this 8 minute bit and then
Yeah.
on to the rest of the movie.
And that was definitely on Paramount Studios too. There was no way they went on
Totally.
location for that.
No, no, no. They went wherever she was filmed. That was probably her home or someplace near her home.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're filming on Thursday, be done by Monday. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, true.
And
That's how they did it.
it's pretty unceremonious. Like if you think about this one, like Friday the 13th is one of those franchises that really doesn't have like a solid, iconic final girl. Because it kind of
Yeah,
shifts, right? Like there's no carryover. One
you're
into two
right.
is probably the most carryover, and they kind of just nip it pretty quickly in the opening.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, you don't get a crossover really.
I know for Friday they put like a poster up on Instagram of all the final girls,
I
and there
already
was
posted that one, yeah.
yeah, and there was 12 girls, which tells you like a girl in movie basically.
Mhm.
You know,
I kinda like that. I
we
mean,
really need one
this is
more, don't we?
right? I mean, I kinda like that it's, yeah, I know, right, for the 13, but I do like it's a fresh, new crop of people. That's why I don't mind those reintroductions of, here's the lore of Jason in case you didn't hear it because it's like, how far are these camp counselors traveling? They have not heard the lore of Jason in their
Right?
state, at least a state. I mean, because they're not coming from out of state. It's not like, oh, we're flying in California camp counselors to New Jersey. Have you guys heard of this New Jersey murder going on? They might not have heard of it, but I think everyone in that tri-state area has heard about that.
True
You know,
facts, dude. Facts.
but
Well, I mean, they try to they always try to like rename the camp too because it's Camp Crystal Lake. They call it Camp Blood, but
Camp
there's
Blood.
always like, oh, this used to be Camp Crystal Lake, or Camp Crystal Lake is
Oh, it's
across the other side. Like it's like just
yeah.
stay away, condemn it all, put some condos. You
And then
know?
it's like Forest Green or something like that.
Yeah,
Something
something
weird.
like that.
But
But
yeah,
yeah,
I mean, yeah, I mean, they're right. You can't cover it up. It is a part of their history and stuff like that. And these movies are fun. I mean, just stop after a while. Just stop going to the camp, right? Just no kid wants to go to camp really. Anyways, I mean, I went to camp once. It was okay. Did you ever go to camp?
I didn't like stay over, but like they had like a thing for like
No.
kids in the 90s where like you would go to like a basketball court and like you would do different things, but then they would like pick you up after. Like you didn't like go to
Oh, really?
like the swamps of New Jersey and hang out for the summer where the parents were like, I'm gonna get it's the 80s. I'm gonna get drunk and just drop my kids here and I'll see you in September. I can't say I ever have. And I was wondering
Okay.
about that. Like, do you think people even do this anymore? Where they send their kids to camp
I
or
don't think so.
anything along that level?
And you know what? Some of my favorite movies, like Camp Nowhere, or like what's the one with the with Ben Stiller with the fat camp? What is that?
Oh,
Heavyweights. Heavyweights.
heavyweights. It's like White
Oh,
Goodman. Yeah.
so yeah. That is definitely the inspiration for White Goodman. One of my favorite movies. You don't have fat camps or weight camps, I guess you call them now.
I'm sure they exist, but I can't imagine they're prevalent in this day and age.
Yeah, it's just like people hire personal trainers now, so you don't need to go to a whole
It's
camp, I guess.
it's kind of like the same idea of like one of your teenage friends having an uncle who has a cabin and we're all going to go for the weekend. I don't think that exists either,
I
but
don't
it's in
think
every
so.
movie.
Now it's creepy. Yeah, now it's just
Um,
creepiness.
speaking of like Gen Z, like how like modern day kind of teenagers, I guess there was a movie that came
Mhm.
out. I want to say a month or two ago. It was the kid from Stranger Things. Um,
Finn Wolfhard.
yes, he made a movie called Hell of a Summer. Did you see it? Do you know about it?
I did not catch it. I did see the trailer for it. I did not catch it. Looked like a kind of a nod to the old slashers a little bit.
It is, and, like, it really does kind of show you, like, what would it look like if you sent some, like, 19-year-olds of today in 2025 to a camp to do whatever, and I couldn't tell if it was trying to be, like, a parody, or a satire, or how much was supposed to be genuine as far as, like, a representation of kids today, because it's like, of course, they got their phones, and all they're talking about is, like the girls are kind of like, I really like Brian. He's going to school for gender studies and like stuff like that. And it's just like, again, they're not interested in what's going on. And then when the kills happen, you don't care. And the movie was a sludge to get through. I don't recommend it.
Oh, okay.
I have like the letterbox and the IMDb, and I went by. Let's go by the audience. How would you rank the movies I've seen? It's way at the bottom. I think it's got like a 4.2 on IMDb or something like that. It's
Oh,
not
wow.
it is not good. I saw it at AMC thinking like maybe I can make a video out of this or a review. And I was like, by the time I got home, I was so discouraged and I'm like, nobody cares about this movie.
See, sometimes these and that's sad because I believe that was his first directed movie, right? Or
Yeah.
he's part of the behind the
Him and
scenes.
somebody else directed it.
Yeah, and they don't try too hard. They're like, "Okay, we have a concept that we can kinda lean into the horror genre a little bit, and we know that meta is selling, so let's just something meta and have fun with it and stuff." that's great, but guess what? We get 10 of those movies a fucking year. Sorry, I don't know if I can curse on here, by the way.
No, go for it. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, but I think that's what they do, and it's like you don't necessarily need to reinvent the wheel, but being creative does make you stand out. So at the end of the year, you go, you know what, that Finn Wolfhard movie was kind of cool. It was a little different than Scream 1 through 800 that we're gonna get in our lifetime, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes less is more, obviously, but get that tight budget once again. Come with a more creative idea. You can throw your tropes in there. You can have your fun spins on it, but sometimes I think they get too meta or too, oh, we're gonna lean into the Gen Z jokes, and then it's like you
Right.
don't even sound like a real Gen Zer anymore. You sound like someone pretending to be a Gen Zer. You know?
Right. I remember watching it too. It was like the vibe has changed too, right? Because back then in the 80s, even into the 90s, like, getting drunk and getting laid was very much a big staple of these movies.
Oh yeah.
When you watch the new one, Hell of a Summer, it's like, you know, today's kids, like they don't, I mean, they vape, but they don't drink. They're not really into sex. Like a lot of audiences today are kind of like, why do we need like a sex scene in a movie? Like, can't we just skip that out? Like, we don't want that.
That's so funny that you bring that up because today I saw something. I mean, I take everything I see on Twitter with a grain of salt because I don't know what's real, who's trolling what.
Right.
But there was a post that was going mega viral, like 30 million, of someone reposting an image or a GIF of Final Destination. You saw Bloodlines?
Yes. Loved it.
Okay. Yeah, me too. So you know the kill where the girl gets smashed in the trash, not trash compactor, but the
Garbage truck.
recycle
Yeah.
garbage truck. Thank you. Um, they reposted that, and the title or the caption said, "Who likes this sick shit? You guys should be ashamed of yourself."
Oh, you should see
And
Terrifier.
yeah, but the whole implication was that Gen Zers or younger audiences don't find this stuff amusing, and they think that they don't understand the humor or the entertainment in it or the satire or anything about it. Just like how you said they're not drinking. Statistically, they're not drinking. More
Correct.
bars are serving mocktails now
Yep.
for people that just want to be there and socialize, which I totally get if you don't have to drink. Um, but I'll just tell you this: 20 years ago, if anybody gave me a mocktail, we would laugh in their face. All right. So that I've drank mocktails now, but that's fine. But I know times are changing, but I just think that is this audience ever going to change when it comes to horror? Because I still find horror as like a niche thing. At least when I go out to the theater to watch it, especially if it's a smaller studio, I see the horror heads in the audience, and they're as old as me, and I
Yes.
don't see many younger people, and that gets me a little afraid because either they're waiting for streamer, which I totally get. A lot of people are just lazy and they will not go to the
Cost too
movies
much
anymore.
too.
Cost too much, yeah, everything. Um, everything's just changed, and
It'll
I
it'll
just
be
hope
on it'll be on streaming in 2 weeks.
exactly. Especially if the movie bombs, it'll be in 1 week sometimes. But yeah, that's the only thing I'm a little afraid of, that horror will seemingly die from I'm sorry, from the big screen, I should say, and go directly to streamer as to avoid paying whatever it costs to get in thousands of theaters across America or nationally. And that's the only thing that or internationally, I should say. And that's the thing that kind of gets me a little sad. But I just recently started going back to the movies this year,
Yeah.
a couple months back, because I gave up on going back to the theaters because everything I was seeing was just
The
very middle of
same.
the road, just basic. And I was like, yeah, I have a subscription to AMC and stuff like that,
Same.
but I just feel like I'm losing something more valuable, time.
I'm glad you brought
And
that up. Do you have AMC A Stubs?
I do have a yes, yeah.
It's funny because it's funny you say that. I watched a couple of bad movies this year, and I was like, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to keep doing this. So I go on the app and I'm like, let me cancel my AMC stubs. And I read the fine print, and they're basically just like, if you want to cancel this, we're going to charge you a fee of $26, and also you will not be able to sign back up again for 6 months.
Oh shit, they must have just instituted that because I did not see that in the fine print.
If you go on the thing and say like,
Oh
go click on
man,
cancel, you'll get this thing pop up and be like, we're gonna penalize you for 6 months, and we're gonna charge
yeah,
you 20. And you know what? It worked because I didn't cancel it. I just tried to make a point of going to see more movies.
yeah.
I went to go see Scene
Uh,
on Screen, and I saw Life of Chuck, and I was like, this is great, so fine. But
I was gonna actually go watch that one, but I don't know. It just seemed too damn happy for me, and I'm like, no, I'll wait.
I kind of like the Regal cinemas better, to be honest.
Okay.
Like I
See,
go
we
at
have a Regal
yeah.
Cinema near us, and it's they have not updated it whatsoever. So the chairs are just torn apart. The screens are old and
Yes.
dusty, and they also have a plan too. I'm pretty sure it's Regal. It might be Cinemark or Cinem. I forget which one it is. Um, but they have this weird plan where it's like you pay like 3 months, 6 month, 1 year. So if
Okay.
you pay 3 months and you cancel after the first month, well, you paid up front for 3 months, and I hate that.
Yeah, it's kind of bullshit, but I guess
It
that's
is.
just the way it is these days, right?
The weird plans, man. So I think AMC is probably the most bang for your buck. Granted, I still have to drive like 12 miles to go, 12 miles there, 12 miles back. I get all my points though. That's the cool part.
How long does it take for you to get to your cinema?
About 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. So you
10
got it
minutes
nice.
there, 10 minutes here.
It takes me like a good like half an hour to get to the cinemas. So it's kind of
Ye-
crappy like when you get there and it's bad. And I go to
It's a bad movie, yeah.
do you get press invites?
No.
Oh, we got to get you on that, man. You got more than enough to swing that. You talk movies every day.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
even. You know what's funny is that I had a couple buddies that are really into that too, and I asked them one day. I go, "How do you get this?" And I think they sent me a website or something. And yeah, I got an event because I live kind of close to LA, about 45 minutes away.
yeah.
I'm in California, by the way. I didn't know if I told you that.
Oh, right on.
Um, so I'm about 45 minutes from Hollywood, and my buddy sent me a link. I remember it was for The Hunt in 2020. You remember that?
Yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah, it was fun, right?
I
So
love
I
I
was
love that. I love the it's more than $6, bitch. Yeah, I love that movie.
It was a very, very fun. Was that a Blumhouse? I believe it was because all the
Universal,
Blum. y-
Universal.
uh, Yeah, but I believe Blumhouse was attached because Jason Blum was there and
Okay.
Ike Barinholtz, like all these people, all the cast was there. The main woman, I forget her name. She's a big star though. I was super geeked up. Like everybody, was talking to me in line and stuff. We were all chatting about movies. Come out of the movie, it's fantastic. Guess what? A week later, pandemic shut down everything, and I never went back to a Hollywood premiere in my life.
Wow.
I mean, I guess I could still now, but I just never went back for any advanced stuff. But
I
yeah,
pretty
that'd be
much
fun
got
to go
in
back.
I pretty much got in there with the pandemic because I got them at like a low point. So like
Okay.
they were desperate. They clearly needed people to review movies and talk about them and stuff like that.
Well, that's
So
cool.
so that's kind of how I got my foot in the door. And then I kind of met some people who had like press connections. They got me in the door. And then it kind of slowed down. But the interesting about these PR companies is that like they are very controlling in how they control the narrative. So they
Mm,
very much structure you in so many ways on like what you can and cannot do. I was watching Dumb Drums and he made a good point. When Ballerina came out like a week or two ago, there was
I
part of
saw
the
that.
yeah, part of it was like in the invite, there was a little bit in red font that was just basically to the point of like, hey, social embargo is at this date, but also if you tend to be critical about it, don't say anything until like a day or two later. But if you love it,
Yeah,
screaming from the rooftops. I'm like, what are we doing, guys?
that is the worst way to go about. It sounds non-professional at all whatsoever. First of all,
I know they're
and
desperate, but
yeah, and then you're already giving the implication that this is gonna be a bad movie, which I saw the movie, I really enjoyed it. I don't even know why they would even put that in there because I
it,
gave it a good review
yeah,
as it was. I knew it was not gonna be John Wick. I don't think anybody expected it, and I think people that were expecting that were these bros that were like, women should not be fighting, and there's no way that she could do that to me, bro. It's like, yeah, because you've trained in the I forget what they call it, the Ruski Roma or whatever the hell. She's part
yeah,
of the Russians. It's like, come on,
ballerinas.
guy. And let's remember, this is a movie. You
Yeah,
know?
it's an R-rated Black Widow, basically,
Yeah, yeah,
more or
pretty
less.
much. And I had fun with it. It was fine. And I like Ana de Armas, and we got to see some John Wick in there. And but
Yeah.
yeah, going back to what they said about that, they should, they got to. I don't know. Hollywood needs a super reset right now, I think.
Yes,
Without getting too preachy.
you can get
I've
preachy.
seen a couple. I've seen it. Well, just for anybody that takes it, like I'm preaching or whatever. Um, I've heard comedians say this. Oh, I could never write super bad in 2025. Well, why not?
You could
Don't let the audience dictate, or the critics dictate what you can and cannot do. And this is what a lot of people are kind of steering back away from,
well,
the political correctness of it.
you can write super bad in 2025. You can write it, but getting a studio to agree to put it in, that's kind of your hang up, right? I think we're
Well, this
I
is
think we're getting back. I think we're kind of moving back into allowing comedy take the stage again. But that's kind of the problem, is that like once it goes through like all the studio notes and the executives and like they change it and they move it out, that's where it kind of falls apart. To the point where people have to go, why bother?
and this is the thing too. You're gonna have those divisive comedy watchers, people, and I'm sure you've seen this. This is the reason for hecklers or people that walk up and get up out of a stand-up comedy show, right?
Yeah.
You either know what you're in for or you don't. It's as
Right.
simple as that. I don't think anybody walks into a comedy blind and sits down and goes, "Oh, what's happening?" Like, they at least know the story, the comedians attached, right?
Uh-huh.
They know how the humor is going to go based on who's starring in it usually. The
Right.
only thing that's changed over time is some of the things are dialed back a little bit for audience political correctness once again. And I'm not saying you have to forcibly insert edgy jokes and, this is the American way, freedom of speech and stuff like that. I'm just saying that the reason why, at least for me, because I'm older, or you're older as well, we relate to movies like Superbad is because that's usually how we grew up around people talking like
Right.
that. So it was a more relatable thing. And like I had stated before, I work with younger kids, and I know for a fact they still talk like that. They're still foul
Good.
mouthed. They're
Good.
still talking about girls in derogatory ways. I mean, because boys are still horny, right?
Yeah.
So none of that really has changed. The only thing that's changed is that now we're afraid to say it in behind these big studios. And
Right.
that's what I think is a little, I know this is kind of I don't know, I don't think it's on your topic, but I'm going to talk about it
Go
tomorrow.
for it.
The Spaceballs 2 thing.
Yep.
I'm kind of a little, I mean, we're talking about Mel Brooks, who did Blazing Saddles, which I think is one of the funniest comedies of all time.
Absolutely.
Could definitely not do that nowadays. But it's like, well, you wouldn't. Why would you? Because there already is a Blazing Saddles, right?
Or Tropic Thunder.
But yeah, Tropic Thunder thing. That was that one thing where it's like, to me, the only offensive, and I don't even think it was that offensive because they explain why they make fun of it during the movie.
Yes.
So it's like, if you don't get why this is the joke, then you just don't get
They're
this
making
movie
fun of
in general.
actors.
Exactly. They're
Yeah.
making fun of actors. They're making fun of the whole bit. But what I was going to say is that I hope in that sense with Spaceballs 2, and Spaceballs in general was not offensive, really. I mean, it was telling jokes and satirical, making fun of the Star Wars franchise. And I just hope they don't dial it back because the studio says, "Ooh, we're Disney Star Wars now, and we don't, we can't say certain things because that's going to literally kill Mel Brooks. He's 100 years old or 99 years old. And I don't think he's going to make it through the process of this movie if that's what's going to happen."
But I don't think it's gonna be a problem, and I'll tell you why. It's because like
Okay.
Disney and the studios you're speaking of, they're starting to realize like they're kind of losing money. Like Snow White was kind of like
Yeah.
the big stake in the heart of like
They've been losing money.
we are done with all of this. And
Yeah.
coincidentally, I don't want to get political because YouTube kind of loses its shit over it. But like, I mean, it's 2025.
Mhm.
Trump won, and it's kind of like there's a big punch back of like, okay, we're not gonna just pay money to go see a movie that is not well written, not smart. There's no love, there's no care. You're just checking boxes. Excuse me. But you're also just like, it's a little too preachy. Like even we're talking about Ballerina. That I think that was a pretty good movie. Same with Furiosa, the Mad Max spinoff.
Right.
But people didn't go see these movies because they're so tired of watching the cliche of the girl boss and the
Girl
punching
boss.
down or the lack of even trying, which is the biggest offense in my book. Because like
Yeah.
I don't care if you have something passionate you want to say. If you want to say X, Y, and Z, show me that you actually care about what you're putting on the screen. Don't
Yeah.
make it feel like it's a studio note because that's typically what most people kind of hate. And like if you drive half an hour and you're bringing your family and you're spending like $100 on popcorn and everything else, and you walk away and it's just like I feel dead inside, then people aren't going to show up.
Yeah. See, me personally, I don't really mind the girl boss as long as you throw a little bit of realism in there. I mean, sure, she's 120, 30 pounds, whatever. But if you put some big guns in her hand or knives or some of that, you're making it a little more plausible. Plus, she's trained. So, okay,
Yeah.
she can take some licks. Plus, you see her get her ass kicked in that movie a lot. I mean, the first club scene, she's getting her ass kicked. It's
Well,
not like she's handling, like she's
my
getting her ass kicked.
my takeaway was like, all right, her deal is hand grenades and flamethrowers. Like that was my takeaway walking away from the movie.
Mhm.
But there was a bit of like, and I think this was pretty much built off the back of No Time to Die. She's got that scene in it where she has like a fight scene in a really nice dress, and like everybody
Oh,
saw
yeah.
that and said, let's give her a spinoff. That didn't happen. Bond went to Amazon. They're like, all right, fine, let's put her in John Wick. We'll expand the universe. The Continental also didn't do very well. That was like the prequel on TV. It was like Winston's backstory. That didn't do well. You very much need, like, we're showing up for the set pieces of the fights, right? And I think the problem with Ballerina a little bit, as good as she is, you could count the beats that she's like in a fight scene. She's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where John
Very
Wick,
choreographed.
right? Keanu's been doing this since like '98 with the Matrix. He can do it without even looking. I was watching John Wick 4. The guy with the giant aviators. What's his name? Stick? No, that's who's the blind
Oh,
guy? You know what I'm talking about?
Kane.
I know.
Kane.
I'm thinking of Stick from Daredevil. Kane. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking about the craftsmanship of this. And granted, he's like a long time performer fighter, but he
Yeah.
has to do it like he's looking this way, right? Like
Mhm.
he's got the glasses on, and he's the fighting is happening over here, but he's not even looking at. So like that has to take real skill to actually pull that off without even looking at what's in front of you.
Oh,
Versus
yeah.
like Anna De Armas, who's kind of just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's fine, but it's not John Wick.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't think anyone really was walking into that thinking it was going to be on that level. It was just more of this side quest story, which once again, I mean, if you've seen the John Wick or any if you've seen any revenge movie in general, yeah, they kill your family, you go back for revenge, you train, you get the story, the oldest story told, right?
Yeah.
Which I wasn't mad at. I just wanted to see some cool shit for a couple of hours, and I wanted to believe her character. Did I believe her character, like as far as motivation? Not really, but I kind of felt it a little bit. I want to bring those waterworks. Like I want to feel that they killed your dad in front of you. Like I want to
Right.
feel your pain. And if you can bring me to feel something, then okay, I'll give you a pass. This she didn't really bring it.
No.
And I think she was focused a little bit too much on the badassery of it.
They even have that
And
they even have that scene where John Wick is there and like they're like roughhousing basically. And
mhm.
she's basically like, they killed my father, and he's like, I know. Just like
Let it go. They killed
just
literally everybody I know. you know?
you still have a choice. Just leave.
Yeah. Oh, he could have killed her in a heartbeat. I mean, he was just playing with her. He was like toying with her, and I totally get it. I did like that they acknowledged when she was training. There was her mentor or something, the woman that she was there that she met with when she was a child, where she goes, "Men are gonna have the advantage for the simple fact that you're built different. You're gonna when you get hit, it's gonna hurt more. You have to in a fight. The objective is just to win. So if you need to cheat, do that." And she kicks the guy in the balls immediately. I thought that shit was funny because when you're in a fight, you're not looking to fight fair. Who the fuck is fighting fair? You're just looking to win. Is it
Well,
right?
I didn't have a problem with that because I was just watching like a behind the scenes on like, not to get off topic, but they were talking about the original Bourne Identity. And they talked
Mhm.
about the Jason Bourne character that was, Treadstone, and they don't fight to be fair. They fight to put the guy down as quickly as possible. If you watch
Yeah.
that scene where he's in the embassy, right, and he's getting away, he runs up the stairs. There's a guy coming down. He doesn't even know what's going on. It's like, hey, you. He runs up. He uppercuts the guy right between the legs. He's like, oh! Guy falls on the stairs. He runs away. He circles back. He grabs the radio, and then he leaves. So, like, I get it. I mean, they tried to.
Yeah.
What was the point they were trying to make? They were like, you can't fight fair. You have to use like your woman powers, your advantages to you that work for you, which
Yeah.
didn't really feel like they paid off too much. I mean, she does have hand
Not really.
grenades and flamethrowers and fine,
I mean,
but
if that's the case, then you should be uppercutting everybody in the nuts because all I saw was a lot of grappling and flipping around. It's like, That's not, you're not going to choke out anybody. You're really not going to choke out. So just grab a weapon and pray. That's all you can do, you know? And I
guess,
really like,
yeah.
I really like the flamethrower scene a lot. I thought it was cool. Excuse me. And then the grenades were really fun. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I just turned my brain off. Like, there's one part where she puts a grenade behind a door, and it's a big metal door, and like it kind of pushes her away, but like you would have broken ribs and everything else. Like the compression of it all would break you.
How about the grenade around the guy's neck, and then she like flies over that table, and like his whole head explodes? That was a cool, really quick kill. I wanted to see that like rewinded or something, but I was like, whoa, that was pretty cool.
That stuff almost kind of feels like it belongs more in a Jason movie, where like the kills, it's like so over the top, where it's just like
it's video gamey. Yeah, it's very video gamey.
And by the end, I was kind of like, they could have put a little more dirt, maybe a cut above her eye. Like her hair was still perfect.
She's still perfect. Yeah.
She should have like a 3rd-degree burn going like across the top of her forehead or something like that. But like, no.
Yeah.
And Gabriel Byrne felt like the most petty villain on the planet. It's like he didn't get his way. He was like, just kill him.
I kind of wish they would have made him a little more menacing, because this guy's supposed to be, I mean, I know we're talking like kind of spoilers here, but he's supposed to be like the leader of this cult, and he didn't really feel too like, I didn't really, fear him too much at all. And
well, you lose all that when he's like, I will not leave because I have been a guardian that for 200 years, the leader of this town has always stood his ground and never ran away. Sir, John Wick is 10 minutes away. Get the car. Oh, when you say it like that, all right, John Wick, all right, fuck tradition, I'm out.
Right.
But there was like a couple of scenes where he was just like super petty about it. Like, I forget. He's like, the sisters are talking, because we introduced the sister character for no real apparent reason. It doesn't go anywhere, and he's just like, take them both out. She gets kind of nicked, and like you're like, oh, okay, that could have been a plot point. I think my big takeaway from this movie was like, you know what? We're going the Fast and Furious route with this franchise now, because in the next one, you can bring back John Wick, you can bring back Kane, you can bring back Mr. Nobody with his dog, you can bring back Ana de Armas, Daryl, Norman Reedus. You have like a universe that's now building. You're bringing all these characters together, and I just hope it doesn't become about family.
They're going the Fast and the Furious route for sure. I didn't even care for Norman Reedus' character in this. I was like, why? Like I like him as an actor, but he has such little screen time, and they're just like, okay, bye, here, take care of this child.
Yeah,
bye.
He never meets Wick. Yeah, it's kind of just like, all right.
Maybe they are saving him for something later, but I mean, now we hear John Wick 5 is happening, and I'm like,
it'll definitely happen. I was just watching 4, and I'm like, he ain't dead.
Yeah, let dogs lie, I guess. And he's a bit, we gave him a fake funeral. He's actually hiding out, okay. But why not? We love Wick, right?
I love him. I feel like we got so off topic. I want to talk about.
I know.
I want to talk. It's fun. This is fun. I've been having so much fun here.
Can we talk, if you're not already going to say it, about the Will Smith thing?
Yeah, let's get that out of the way, because this will be a short one.
Okay.
I don't have. And if you're in the chat, I really want to hear what you think. All right. So.
We're still talking the movie. Are we still talking the movie? I forgot.
There we go. There's Will Smith. Will Smith put out a video 3 days ago called "Pretty Girls." I have some notes. Hold on, because this was last minute.
God damn.
It's called "Pretty Girls," and it is very much the return.
You wrote notes for this? You wrote notes for this?
Well, I wrote down lyrics. I have lyrics from the hottest song of the year.
Good
Pretty
Lord.
Girls, with the repeated line, "I like pretty girls. I love pretty girls. I like BBLs. That stand for bad bitches link up. Pop it in the club all night in the section. Picture perfect. I swear you're perfection." This whole song is basically just Will Smith proclaiming that he is single and straight, and he's, in my opinion, I think he's too old. I think he's 60 years old. Yeah, it's embarrassing. It's all I have to say, says Amanda in the chat. Yeah, and if you watch, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say real quick. I want to know what Q Reviews in the chat thinks, because he actually used to rap, and he's from Detroit, and I want to know. And he grew up on Will Smith too, just like I did. Q, what do you think about those lyrics right there? I didn't even hear the BBL line. I know he says BBL. I didn't hear him explain what it meant to him. But that totally makes sense. I know that he's single. I forgot about the whole gay rumor thing. I forgot about that.
It's more than a rumor, as Tatum says in Scream. There's been talk.
Oh, really? Okay.
I mean, again, I'm an outsider too. I don't know.
if he's trying to escape the gay rumors, this is the gayest outfit right here on screen.
Right?
I don't know. What is this, dude?
And I'm
You're
looking at the
wearing a
background.
Marilyn
Yeah.
Monroe
Oh, I didn't even
shirt.
notice that. Oh my god, dude.
This is something you would see someone wearing on a Friday night walking down North Hollywood, okay, or West Hollywood, I should say, out here in California, which is the gay district. So, dude, you are really sending weird signals that this is supposed to be your comebacks. I'm single and straight song. I
I'm
will
like,
say this: I do like the beat. The beat is a little catchy, but the repetitive
well, the
hook or
comments
whatever is
the
weird.
comments made a good point. They're like, if you turn the speed up to 1.25, the beat works.
I saw that. I
And I'm
kind of
like,
didn't like it sped up, but oh yeah.
I can see why they said that. But yeah, dude. And then I'm looking at this photo here. You're right. He's wearing a Marilyn Monroe, like Andy Warhol kind of shirt. He's got the banana pants on. I think that's
A tie.
a tie that's pink and plastic and see through.
That is some
Okay.
Pee Wee Herman shit, and we
And
know
then
Pee Wee Herman just came out as gay.
yeah, and you're and you're looking at the background and you're like, these are the pretty girls. I'm like, I get. I mean, they're okay.
You know what's funny is that I was telling my wife this too, because we were watching the video because I was like, "Do you like the song or not?" Because the internet's saying it's a bop, so I'm like really confused, and then some people are saying it's like the worst song of the year. Um, he's saying it's Pretty Girls. I go, did something happen? I understand inclusion and stuff like that, but the women, like facially wise, are these pretty girls, or is this like some obscurity that is now the
Yeah.
norm? Like we're like the
Well,
opposite of pretty has to be now pretty. Is that what it is? Or
I guess you can argue like it's like the Tom Cruise thing, right? Where like by the time he gets to like the eighth Mission Impossible, you have to put the females in there that look like they would actually link up with Will Smith. So like we have to make them a little bit older and more compatible, I guess maybe.
this is
I want to
like B list
yeah, and
dancers in the back.
I don't want to shit on the women because like they're just there for a job and like it's fine. Like I'm not gonna shit on
Yeah,
them. I'm shitting on Will Smith because this is laughable.
yeah.
What I love about this video, and by that I mean hate and think it's hysterical, is like the intro outro of him going into like a therapist's office, which is like I'm just having flashbacks of like the Red Table with Jada, where it's like
Do you?
I slept with our son's friend, and he's like, "That's
Oh
okay, I love
God.
you, I love you."
she she did him so publicly dirty. Like I really felt bad for. I mean, that's kind of what really divided like everybody hating Jada is, and she's kept rolling with the punches. And it's like there, I don't think anyone's backing you, girl. Like you're just a mean person, you know. And do you have what he said at that intro of that
Yes.
video?
So
Because it was so telling.
he goes into the office, right? And he's in there for a therapy session, and you have like a woman who looks like a little too sexy for the club to be a therapist, and she's just kind of like, "Okay, Will, what's on your mind?" And he's kind of just like, in a nutshell, because I've only watched it once. He's like, "I have these intrusive thoughts. This one in particular, where I can't get out of my head, no matter what I do. I just keep thinking about pretty girls," and like that's the whole video. It's just like I just want to let you know, despite what you may have heard, I am single, I am straight, I am back out there. Check out my profile on Plenty of Fish. I'm on Tinder. I'm on Facebook dating. And like,
So do you
yeah,
think this was the daydream to mask the I like pretty guys the real song that he was having in his head?
and like I think everybody can agree who's watching this. It's like Will Smith. We don't care if you're gay or whatever, but don't lie about it. Like, and don't
Yeah.
try so hard to lie about it. Like, just be you. And I think the
There was
problem is that this video is just so much not Will Smith. Like we have an inkling of like where you're probably at, and this ain't it. This is you having a midlife crisis, deciding I'm going
yeah.
to try to tap into what I used. I mean, even down here in the comments, like O Review says like I think people forget Will Smith used to be rap number one and was a great rapper. What's that song? Summertime. I remember
Mhm.
when uh Wild Wild West came out, and that video was like that was fucking lit. Like, granted, it was a bad movie,
Yeah.
but that was like the song in the summer, like Wild Wild West. And then he had the Men in Black song. He had to, get jiggy with it. Like he was for a
He
time in the
yeah,
90s and
he was
2000s.
mhm.
He was the
So there
shit. He was
was
the man. He was Bad Boys.
no, there was an absolute time and at this point, I do feel bad for Will. Like I felt bad for him that he was even trying to. He's just trying to relive his youth and be young again, and it doesn't help with all of this stuff, and even with the whole slap. Like I obviously, I like a lot of people, most people, I think, sided with Chris Rock and stuff, and thought that what
Absolutely.
was wrong. But then when you let it marinate, you're like, this is deeper seated shit that I really hope he gets under control. But he just kept masking it and saying it wasn't a problem and stuff like that. Now, this is not a way to come about like your reintroduction into like I'm still with the cool kids, guys. Like
Well,
he's never adapted his sound to sound anything unlike everything sounds like the 90s. He's trapped in a 90s capsule, right? And that was fine for back then because you had pop hits, you had pop stars. You could throw this on the radio and have fun. You did not take it seriously.
right.
So is he still trying to just not be taken seriously or just, oh, we'll just play this in the club? It's like you just put out a whole album. Is that supposed to be all played in the club, or do you want to be taken seriously as a lyricist rapper? I don't know if you've seen the cover of this album, by the way. He's dressed like a kid. He's dressed like I was back when in 2001 when I was like 16 years old, 17 years old, in baggy clothes. No one wears clothes like this, by the way.
Oh
I
my
think there's an
god.
album cover for it. Yeah, it's like, dude, no
Hold
one
on.
dresses like this anymore. Yeah, see if you can pull it up.
I got it. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let's see if I can get this. I'm looking at it right now though, and you're right. He's dressed like he's like in like the 80s.
He cannot get out of this glory days stuff, and it's like, you're so much better than that, dude. Like you're a very celebrated actor. You're a talented actor. Even if I'm not even going to discredit him as a rapper because he has his lane.
There you
Yeah,
go.
dude, bro. No one's rocking this. No one is wearing this. And if you are, like, people are really calling it out as like you're stuck in some time. Like this is 2006 rap cover is what it look like. Is what it looks like to me. I can't
Yes.
tell the shoes,
The
but I'm
varsity
guessing he's wearing.
jacket, probably some
Yeah,
Jordans. Got the
yeah,
cargo
Jordans or
pants.
Air Force Ones or something like that.
Yep.
And and I understand, dude. He's not acting his age anymore. I think a lot of people were saying that, and you can be someone that's still. I don't know if he's still putting out music, but I think he's still like in the sphere. Is LL Cool J, which is someone as old as Will Smith. I don't even look at LL Cool J in the same regards as him.
Yeah.
How is that? How can we differentiate like someone that is the same age but that is so much better just rapping and has adapted to the times, like the look wise, fashion wise, just charisma. I'm telling you, dude, I don't know who this is geared towards with that outfit.
I don't know. I have a take. My take is that like Will Smith had like a roadmap, right? And it was like he started up with like Fresh Prince, and then he moved on to music and stuff like that, or he did the same time. And then he did the movies, he did the big blockbusters like Men in Black, Wild Wild West, Independence Day, all that. And then he was like, now I want the Oscar. He did like Ali, he did 7 Pounds, he did King Richard, right? And you know what? He was following that roadmap perfectly. I mean, he won the goddamn Oscar. Like all he had to do was not slap Chris Rock, but he slaps Chris Rock. I mean, we already knew all the tea that was spilled on because he outed himself going on that show with Jada, talking about like Jada's lovers and stuff like that. And it
That woman
feels just
ruined
like,
him.
yeah, and it feels like he tried to. And here's the thing that really probably pisses everybody off. I feel is that after Chris Rock got slapped, he apologized to the Academy. He didn't apologize to Chris for like weeks later. And even then, it felt very like a PR team wrote this. It wasn't from the heart. It just felt very like produced by the suits that do this
Yeah.
kind of things. And ever since that, it's kind of just been like he's trying to be like that bully who pretends that he didn't do what he did, or just kind of like oh, that didn't happen. Don't worry about it. Like
Yeah.
even as early as watching him like dance at like the Oscar night, he's got like the Oscar and he's like, no, 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 no. Like not even a care in the world of like, I think I destroyed my career.
If he was smart, he could do a whole, during these award shows, he could do. I don't know if you saw it because I grew up on a lot of hip hop, so like I watched the BET Awards recently, and they did a like a whole collaboration of like early 2000s like R&B and hip hop like on
Yeah.
one main stage. I thought it was very, very cool because I hadn't seen these stars like Ashanti, Mia, B2K, like Little Bow Wow was on there, and it was cool to see them come out. Ti was on there, and they came out and they did like some of their famous songs for like 1 minute. If
Yeah.
he were smart, he could do like some residency, like Jennifer Lopez is doing in Vegas, and do his hits from the 90s and 2000s. And there is no shame in that.
Right.
Step away from the mic currently. There's nothing new for you, guy. Like, it's over.
Or I think if you're gonna do this, right? I'm not see like a key review says like, he's human, he made a mistake, bro. Everyone has a bad day in the office. I get that. But that's not what I find off-putting about this, is that it just feels like it's so removed from like the pulse. Because it's just like if I'm Will Smith, right? First of all, the song probably wouldn't be Pretty Girls. All right. It'd probably be a little bit more like open-ended, where it's like, maybe you have a lot of people in a club setting and like everyone's kind of dancing, or you could just like take footage of like him dancing on stage throughout the years at different tours, right? Like remind people, like put little clips of like all your other videos, like remind that this guy has like a whole body of work. He's been around, and you make it like a little bit less about you, how you're single and straight and still looking for the ladies in the club, even though like he's always going on about like, I believe in family, I believe in marriage, I will never get divorced, which is probably why he's in the pickle he's in, because like he's trying to drag out this whole Jada thing. And we all kind of know, we all suspect that Jada's probably like not good for Will. Like that's probably what's messing him up. You have all that stuff that kind of came out with like what happened behind the scenes on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which kind of made me, I guess he kind of feels like, are they calling me gay? We gotta prove that wrong. That goes against the image that I've created of Will Smith. We can't have that out there. But it just feels too try hard. It just feels way too try hard, and it feels way too late.
Best believe. He thinks that this is the hottest fucking video he's ever produced and song of his career. He himself believes this. He does not understand what the dislike button is. He does not understand why people are saying mean comments underneath this video. He thinks that they're all living in a different reality than him.
Right. Well, he's been in that bubble for too long. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you ever see that that movie Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It feels like that, where like, he throws the ball behind him and everyone goes, oh, and it clearly missed it. You know what I mean?
That's him.
Like, that's him. He doesn't know. It's like when Vin Diesel put out a song, I think like a couple summers ago. He's like, here's my new single, and it's bad. And somebody should have pulled him aside and said, no, man.
Vin Diesel?
Vin Diesel.
Oh, I've never heard that. I got to look that up.
I think it's called like Summertime or something like that. Again, it's one of those like bops that are just like, Summertime. And it's super generic. God. Yeah, here we go. Feel Like I Do was the name of it.
Wow.
When did this come out? 2020.
Oh Lord.
Let me see if I can.
Yeah, I mean, you get it from everybody. I mean, Kim Kardashian has songs. Paris Hilton has songs. Believe it or not, Joe Pesci had like a rap song back.
Oh my God, you're right.
You heard that one?
I do remember that, or I remember them talking about that and going like, "This is so bad." Here we go. This is the Vin Diesel
Lord. One. That looks like exactly like the cover that I would have pictured too.
Yep.
Feel Like I Do.
Feel Like I Do, and it's heavily auto-tuned, and it's just pretty awful.
Is it a whole album or just one song?
It might just be a single, but then again, if it's an album, like nobody knows about it.
Lord.
Let's see if it's an album.
I mean,
I think it's just a song.
I think the fact that not too many people know about it, or at least I didn't, that's fine. I mean, he probably didn't push it that hard or take it that seriously, because maybe the reception, or maybe it was just a fun project where he's like, you know what? I'm wealthy as it is off this Fast and the Furious money. Like, I can just do whatever I want, and just let it pass by. The thing with Will is that he just keeps going on and on and on. He could have used all of this passion and remorse or regret or whatever and fueled it into a performance of a movie, man. Like,
yeah.
Don't you know what, guys? I like girls. Did you guys know that? I made a whole song about it, and
just in case you guys forgot, I like the ladies.
Yeah.
It's like it's like guys. Kanye West like complaining about South Park about the fish sticks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
He's
and I always thought too, like I was like, oh damn, like respect, because I thought that there was rumors that he had hooked up with Margot Robbie on that movie set, Focus.
And he might have. I mean,
Yeah, and I was like, okay,
trust.
cool, you're not gay, bro. Like that's awesome.
And
And that's
again,
that's
I don't
kind of
care
where I
if he's
thought it
gay or
ended.
not. It's just kind of like it was a spicy little thing of like, hey man, that'd be a cute couple and like something you kind of think about. Like I'm kind of curious, like what's going on with that.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know. I don't pretend to know
Do you,
anything about
do you have
Will
any more
Smith's life.
frames of the? Okay, I was gonna say, do you have any more frames of the "I like girls" thing? I was
Uh,
kind of curious the outfit changes because I know he has a couple of them.
I can pull some up. Give me 1 second. What is this
Yeah,
thing called? I like girls.
I like pretty girls. Yeah,
I like pretty. Yeah, dude. I mean, even the title is kind of just like
BBL. So, but he's not cursing though. They blank it out, right?
no. He never curses ever. That's like his brand is that he doesn't curse.
Well, I thought they were. It might have just been for the video, but I was like, is he finally gonna curse? Like he curses in movies. Why doesn't he curse in rap? I don't get that.
Cause he's like the
What
Bill
is?
Cosby of rap. He's a very clean act until he's not.
Yeah, until he's.
Oh my god, I got a photo right here. I gotta pull this up. Give me 1 second. And he's 58. He's pushing 60. Where you're kind of just
This is a
like,
yeah. This is the Pee Wee Herman ass outfit right here.
yeah, dude. Let me see if I can pull up some more images here.
This is like a God, what's that guy that directed Hairspray or not Hairspray? Waters, John Waters.
There we
Yeah,
go.
that bro. Oh god, he looks like
What are
a
you
starburst.
doing?
He looks like a starburst. This is
Yeah, yeah, dude.
man.
I give him credit for like swinging at anything. Like he walked up to the plate and just swung as hard as he could. But
No, this is there's one video that I posted on my Twitter of him like at the end of the video where the beat is just playing and he's like going like this back and forth. And
yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, he starts doing that dance. Oh yeah, I was telling my girl, this outfit does not make any sense because it looks like he's going to the office, but then he also has like this Tokyo Drift ass a jacket over it.
Business casual.
Yeah, business casual.
It's like Office
All
Space.
right.
Remember, Friday is Hawaiian Shirt Day, so.
He totally picked out these outfits himself too. You know he
Oh
did.
yeah, straight from the closet, and everyone said they're
Yeah.
great. They're perfect.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. That's what I was gonna say too, is that before all the YouTube stuff in my personal life, I used to DJ and actually work with like musical like rappers and artists and stuff like that. And I can totally attest to new guys coming around being the yes men 100%. Anybody that's trying to be involved in your circle, especially if you're successful, they will kiss your ass when it
Oh
comes
yeah,
to constructive criticism. And then when I give actual, constructive criticism, someone that's been there for years, the artist will not understand why everybody else is saying, yes, this is a banger. And the person that's been there along with you for years says, no, I think maybe you should change this a little bit because they've
yeah,
already been infiltrated by so much praise, you know?
yeah. And the song's not good. I think that's when it really comes down to it. If the song
Yeah.
was good, I probably could like hand wave all this away, kind of.
He should have sampled something because all his songs are all samples, right? The Wild Wild West, the Men in Black, every song of his, Miami, it all is a sample track. Just like how P Diddy used to, I hate to mention P Diddy, but P Diddy, all his successful songs were samples of old songs, and
Yeah.
that's the formula that Will followed, which made them very memorable. No one's gonna remember this. I'm sorry. Next year.
Well, and I think, going back to what we were talking about earlier, it's like I think young people today, they want their own stuff. They want their own IPs. They want their own originality. They don't want things that are dusted off from like 30 years ago to be
Yeah.
like what they look back on and like, oh yeah, we had Will Smith, I Like Pretty Girls. We had a reboot of this, a reboot of that. It's like they want their own stuff, which is probably why the kid from The Back Doors is getting his own movie. It's like
Mhm.
that's kind of the direction it's slowly starting to go in. But big executives they want something that you recognize. They want to save money on advertising. So I guess that's kind of
Yeah.
why they're going. But again, I mean, we'll see how this goes. It only dropped 3 days ago. Do you have any final thoughts on Will Smith before we kind of shift?
Oh, I mean, a great actor. I hope he gets help soon. That's all I can say. I mean,
I
he can
I
afford it, you know,
yeah.
but
He needs to go touch some grass. He needs to go outside, touch some grass, get leveled,
go
get
go
talk
make
to.
another Men in Black movie. Go make another damn Bad
Yeah,
Boys. All
go make
right.
that, well, yeah, even I saw that the latest, Bad Boys movie where, like, Martin Lawrence is like, "You need to get your head in the game," and he slaps him, like, 3 times, like, "Ha, ha, 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 ha," he slapped him back. Like,
Yeah.
they're trying to, like, do damage control while also trying to pretend it didn't even happen or it wasn't a big deal. And ultimately, it's not even that it's such a big deal. Although if I was Chris Rock, I would hate him forever. Like you really made me look like an idiot on stage when I was trying to host the Oscars. Like we can move past that, but it's kind of like if you've ever like teased somebody for something dumb they did, and rather than them just being like, you know what, I made a mistake and we can all laugh about it now, it's like staying with the point of like, I was right. I can't explain why I was right, but I was right, and it wasn't even a big deal. I don't want to try and make it a big deal, and never letting it go. It's just like it's just out of touch. If there's one thing I get from this is like it's very out of touch and out of sync of like I don't know, man. And you're right. Like, what are we doing here?
Do you have a maybe I can look it up as well. I would just kind of like to know the like to dislike ratio on something like this. I could possibly I have
We could
the
pull it up. We could pull
I
it
have
up.
the extension. Yeah, the extension.
Jamie, can you put up on the screen the Will Smith?
Yeah,
Let's see.
Jamie, let's see, Jamie.
I like pretty girls. Will Smith.
So he hasn't even broke 1 million, which I'm surprised in 3 days. 743,000. It's still a lot.
It's been a problem.
Surprisingly, 35,000 likes.
16 negative.
Yeah, 16,000 negative. So I thought this would have a more negative ratio, but
so he's got like 2/3, right? Roughly.
he's performing. He's on tour in the UK and Germany coming up.
Yeah.
Wow. What is happening?
Well, you know what? It's also a song like if you're trying to like make it get like a big broad appeal, like I Like Pretty Girls feels like a thing you can easily translate into every language and it could be a bop in like other countries. It doesn't take a lot of effort, you know.
Yeah. Also, I feel like he's deleting comments because what every single comment is like very positive or like speed it up to 1.25 and you're good.
I mean, even the beginning of the video, he's like, "What is? It's been a problem ever since I was a little boy."
Yeah, what does that mean?
It's gotten worse as I've gotten older. I thought I had it under control, but I'm
literally experiencing it right now.
Like, yeah, they're trying to play it up like it's like a therapy session.
Like he's a sexaholic or something.
Yeah, like it's like this is like he's doing an apology for liking girls. I guess. Even though
I don't think he's ever been accused of.
No one's ever been accused. Yeah, no one's ever accused. Like we've always said that Will is very charming.
It's not on trial. Yeah, it's never on trial.
And he's a funny actor, and he's got some good bops. But no one's ever said, "Hey, you know, you're just such a womanizer." It's almost like Michael Jackson doing Billie Jean, where it's just like, "Yeah, I'm a ladies' man, and like, you know, but the kid ain't my son, and I'm such a straight guy, and you know, as you all know," and you're just like, "Okay."
Yeah. This is kind of interesting when you think about it, like a gay guy cosplaying as a straight man. That's kind of what I'm getting right here.
It's too try hard. It's too that's the problem. It's trying too hard, and we're laughing more at the fact that you're trying too hard. I feel is that fair?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think so.
Let's get off of Will Smith.
All right.
I don't want to get jiggy with it anymore.
No problem. I mean, I still will play the old stuff. Don't get me wrong, and I still get a good feeling, like you know, when you want to get in a good mood or just have fun with music.
No.
Yeah, that's always going to get a party started, right?
Yeah,
always. You know, or even Wild Wild West and stuff. Oh, this is what I wanted to touch on really quick, since we're on the Will Smith thing. Did you see the interviews where he was talking about? I mean, you probably know about that. He supposedly turned down The Matrix, right?
Yes.
Like he was in supposed to be the leading role. Now he's claiming that he turned down Christopher Nolan's Inception.
I didn't hear that.
He just came out with that like yesterday. He was supposed to be instead of a Leonardo DiCaprio. So now I'm starting to think: is this guy just trying to catch praise off of these stories, or did these really happen? He just keeps saying that he's turning down weird stories that sound that don't make sense to him in the moment, which I can understand. If someone pitches Inception to you, or someone pitches, you know, Matrix to you, and it doesn't seem like a fit at the time, you're going to pass up on them. But I don't know. I mean, even Inception was later down the line, so I think he would have maybe thought about it a little more and maybe not wanted to make the same mistake as the Matrix. Yeah, you can look it up if there's a clip going around where he's on a podcast talking about that, and I think he just broke the news like yesterday or a couple days ago to this guy on the podcast, which it could have been completely fake. I don't know. There's not a lot of.
Yeah, I don't look. I'll be honest. I don't believe Will Smith like when he talks anymore.
I don't. I absolutely
Not
don't.
not to say that I ever did, but like I think now more than ever, it's kind of just like, why
I mean,
should I believe you?
he was trying to be a tough guy after the slap. Keep my wife's name out of your mouth, and he's like screaming it, and people are still laughing. That shows you that no one's taking you seriously.
Yeah, dude.
So,
I think we're gonna just leave Will Smith with this. This is why we like Will Smith,
oh
right? Like this is like I don't want to shit on Will Smith all day. Like there's a reason we used to like this man. Like this scene still makes me cry to this day. Like it's so sad, it's so touching. Uncle
yeah.
Phil really did a great job. I can't remember who plays Uncle Phil. Do you remember the actor's name? I'm kind of blanking at the moment.
I don't know the name. Q, if you're still in the chat, please let us know.
But
I forget his name as well.
I've seen the behind the scenes where they talk about the scene, and like the guy who plays Uncle Phil is like a trained theater actor, and he really kind of like talked to Will during the scene. He's like, "Look, take it slow, let it come out naturally." Like he kind of held his hand in the scene, and this scene is great. I mean, if you don't cry during the scene, then you don't have a heart, man. Like it's just Ben Vereen plays the dad, and he walks out on him again, and like it really like Will Smith is an actor.
Oh, it plays so well, like from beginning to end. Like when the dad comes in and like there's like no music. In the sitcoms they would always have like some kind of backing music or whatever. Like it was just very silent.
Silence.
You were just listening to all the dialogue, like not an audience member like saying a damn word, until the end when they're clapping and stuff like that. It was a very good scene, but someone should change this meme to "How come Hollywood don't want me, man?" That should be it.
How come pretty girls don't want me, man?
Yeah. Yes.
I want them. I like
Yeah.
BBLs. That stands for bad bitches link up.
God, bitches link up.
Yeah,
God,
dude. It's like somebody's dad trying to be
ChatGPT could have wrote
cool.
something better than that.
Maybe it did. Maybe it did.
Wake up.
I don't know.
That's
All
wild,
right.
man.
Our final topic for the night. I don't want to keep Big D here too long.
No problem.
Our final topic for the night is that this Wednesday we're getting the sequel to 28 Days Later and 20 Years Later. 28 years later. Sorry, 28 days, weeks, and years. You got it. You know what we're talking about. It's the most hyped horror movie of the season. 28 Days Later is getting a third in what's going to be the beginning of a new trilogy, as far as I understand. It's directed and by Danny Boyle, who did the original, who also did Sunshine, Steve Jobs, Trainspotting. It's written by Alex Garland, who also wrote the original, as well as Ex Machina, Civil War, Warfare, Annihilation, and Men. I love this movie, and I just kind of want to talk about, because we're going to be talking about it again next week. We're going to have J. Mark Schwartzentruber, who was here last week. He's going to come back. We already confirmed it. He's coming in Monday. We're going to be talking about 28 years later next week on the channel. So in prep for that, I kind of want to go down memory lane a little bit and talk about why we like this franchise, why it's sustained all these years, and why does it still have this staying power even today? That, I mean, as far as I can tell, everywhere I look, this is everyone's most anticipated movie, especially like within the horror genre. So I'm going to put it to you, Big D, for a minute and say, like, what is your experience? I just watched your reaction video to this because you sent it to me. It was pretty good. What is your take on this movie? What is your history with it? What resonates with you the most?
Yeah, so I think you had said, we all kind of seen pieces of this movie at one time. So I did see this on TV, like pieces, when I was growing up. So I do know of certain scenes' existence. That was when I was, oh gosh, this is right after high school for me.
Okay.
So I didn't really know anything. I was going into it cold, completely honest. I did a reaction for this just last week, so it is still fresh in my mind. I didn't remember anything from that TV viewing that I had seen. But then when I started seeing, Cillian Murphy, Naomi Harris, I was like, okay, I do remember big names attached. I just didn't know. And then I saw, what's his name? Brendan Gleeson, I believe it was.
Brendan Gleeson, yep.
Yes, fantastic chemistry that everybody had in this friend group. Obviously for outbreak, infection, zombie movies, you need a good tight-knit friend group because obviously you need people to root for and care for because obviously some of them are going to die. And it's supposed to hit you emotionally. And, Brendan Gleeson's character did hit me when I was first viewing it because he was such a strong leader in that moment, and he was taking initiative and charge in the journey of nothingness, of the unknown, pretty much, of just kind of driving, and it's so secluded. And I kept asking myself during my first viewing of this movie, how the hell did they pull this movie off? And everybody let me know in the comments, they shot, early or just minutes at a time. Like they had to really get it quick.
Yep.
And I was just amazed at how they did this. And then I also read that they filmed it in chronological order, pretty much of the time, throughout the movie. They,
Oh, nice.
in most movies, they kind of film it, at the end, or they might film the middle part first or whatever. This one was filmed beginning to end, how you see it. And I was just blown away at not only that, but just once again, the chemistry that these characters had, especially Jim played Cillian Murphy, and then Naomi Harris is it Serena? I think it's Selena.
It's like Celine or Selena. I think you're right.
Yeah, I really like their bond a lot. I'm so glad they survived because, I'm glad that they, were making out, because these are these moments where it feels so much more authentic when there's very little people on the line. Yes. I don't know how the sequel is going to go, because I plan to watch that like in the next couple of days before the third movie. But because we have such a small group, we don't know who else is out there. We don't know. I mean, he leans back at one point and he sees a damn plane, and it's like, okay, were we just quarantined? Like, is the rest of the world infected or not? Who's alive and who's not? And I really like seeing that. But I like to see that he even tells Celine, he goes, there is something to live for. Like, it's not all complete shit. And I love lines like that.
Yes.
Because people could pass this off as just another dumb horror movie. But when you add realistic lines that are quotable or just feel very authentic, it sticks with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I rated this movie very, very high. I saw it on a streamer, so I need to get it in physical. And I loved it. I absolutely love this movie, and I would rewatch it again too. I don't know if you can see in the back, I have a Dawn of the Dead poster. I'm a fan of the slower, brainless moving zombies. And but the infection, like Resident Evil type of zombies, I do like too, but I just instinctually call them zombies, but I know that they're not zombies.
I'm in the same boat, man. People come at me in the comments, and I'm like, I know, but I mean, what are we supposed to call? I guess they're just undead, right? Like they're alive. They're not dead, so they're not.
I usually just say infected. Yeah, I just say infected.
Infected. Okay.
Yeah, but then throughout, I'm like, oh, watch for the zombie, and it's like, well, it's not a zombie.
And I have the same sentiment as you do with this movie, because like when you start off with the characters, the first half of the movie, or I guess I should say the middle part of the movie, like chapter 2 of this movie, is kind of a slow point, right? Like you start off with a banger. It's very Walking Dead. He wakes up in a hospital alone. He goes outside. We have those great scenes with like Big Ben, and we're in London. They cleared all the streets. They had to shoot those like in the early parts of the day, which they would never pull that off today. I feel like it would cost them way too much, and the way that things are in Hollywood, like would never pull it off today. He finally meets up with the characters. Selena, her name is Selena. Brendan Gleeson plays the character of Frank. Frank is very charming and endearing. And Jim and Selena, like, they're both kind of like these, we've been through some shit kind of characters. They're a little bit closed off, but as you watch the movie, they kind of like grow as characters. They heal, they come together. I was watching this with my current girlfriend, and we were watching it, and it's a very sweet movie. Like we were watching a movie before this called The Gorge, which I don't think got like a lot of good reviews.
I love that one.
See, me too.
I loved it.
Yeah, we loved it too. Like I remember, like it was like a small movie. We watched it together, and like it was like, oh, these characters are great. And I think it was like Critical Drinker and all the rest of them. They were kind of just like, I like Critical Drinker and Neurotic and all them. But then again, like they sometimes go too far, where like they just shit on everything. And I get like that's like their bread and butter, and that's what they do. But like they ripped this one a new one, and I'm like, how do you not like The Gorge? It's kind of like a legitimate, like romantic action thriller sci-fi movie, and it just works pretty well with the leads. And I feel like this one has the same sentiment. Like I'll pull up my favorite scene in the movie in the end. Let's see here. Here we go. That was longer than a heartbeat. Like that entire scene, right? See, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. Granted,
he grows as such a character in this movie too, because he starts off very weak. She's the girl boss. I mean, she's already seen shit.
She's got her shit.
she has a partner who she has to literally like butcher because he
Yeah.
gets infected, and she has seen some shit and she's done some shit, right? He
Uh-huh.
is still wet behind the ears. He's just seen some stuff at this point. He has now grown into a killer because he's killed people at this point,
Right.
and he is now fighting to save her and the daughter, the other girl,
Mhm.
and he has nothing. Like, this is his group now. He is now trying to fight for them, and I do love that line too. Again, sorry, I didn't want to cut you off.
No, no, you're fine. But you're right. It's like he's wet behind the ears. He doesn't know what he's doing. He just woke up, and like so, like I guess it's not until like they decide that they're gonna, in true James Bond fashion, we can't shoot him here. We have to walk him out into the backyard, and we have to dig a hole, and we gotta monologue. And it's only then that he goes like full Rambo, and he comes back and he takes the guys out, and he lets the one infected on the loose, and like all that. The score is fantastic when he's
So
taking
good.
everybody out, and like you're legitimately afraid for like Selena and the little girl, and even him. You're like, come on, man, just get to the finish line. And then even in the scene leading up right to this, it's like there's a part of me that's like, oh my god, please do not chop his head off because he's not saying anything.
That's what I thought would happen. I thought they were going to hit me with a twist ending, and I was like, God, that would be so.
Because
I might shed a tear if that happened.
Because that's Night of the Living Dead too, right? The guy lives in the end, and the locals come in with the rifles and they shoot him in the head because they don't know any better. So I'm like, in true zombie, not zombie movie, like that's what I was expecting. And then like he comes in and he says, that was longer than a heartbeat, which is a callback to earlier. And like they make out, and it's a very sweet movie. Naomi Harris is fantastic in this.
Oh, great! She's great at it. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's why, at least for me, why I love this movie is like it has more heart than you remember. I think when you go back to go rewatch it, because I think most people are kind of like, oh, it's kind of like the Walking Dead setup. He wakes up in the hospital, there's no one there. He finds survivors. They kind of make their way through. I'm very excited for the new one because we have Danny Boyle and Alexander Skarsgård. What's his name? Garland. Thank you. Sorry. I like that they're coming back. My only reservation is that I know it's going to be a trilogy, and when we do come back, yes, it's the start of I think Bone. What is it called? Jamie, pull up the 28 years later.
Was Danny Boyle and Alex Garland part of the second film?
No, 28 weeks later. You mean?
Yeah, they were not.
No.
Okay.
Sequel. So yeah, the Bone Temple is going to be, let's see, 28 years later, the Bone Temple set to follow in January of 2026. The first film is scheduled for the theatrical release in June of 2025. Okay. So I think they already started filming it. The third one's also on its way. What I don't like about this is that the next one, we're kind of luring people in with like Danny Boyle and Alex Garland. But for the next one, it's going to be Nia DaCosta, who did The Marvels and the remake to Candyman at the helm of director.
Oh my God.
Which really kind of sets me on like, oh. And I think the rumor mill is kind of like, I heard conflicting things. I heard that Killian is going to be in the very tippy end of this one, but he's definitely confirmed for the next one that follows. But you won't have Danny Boyle or Alexander Garland back. So it's kind of like, I really hope they don't mess it up, because if they do, I just want to preserve my memory of this movie and leave it alone.
Why do they always pass off these franchises to weak directors? Like, it's like they're purposely knowing that, oh, it's just a later movie. You're on the fourth and fifth movie at this point. Just pass it off to anybody.
I guess money.
Like
money, right? Because it's like you pay for Alexander Garland and Danny Boyle initially, and best believe they're going to be like producers on the sequels, or like they're going to get paid. But Hollywood wants to push cheaper talent. When you get somebody like Nia DaCosta, it's not like Christopher Nolan, where if the director has pushback, it's going to be a problem. It's kind of just like, if you push back, you won't be invited to play anymore. Like, you won't be able to do, like, they want puppets. You know what I mean? They don't want somebody with a real vision. They want to be able to give studio notes and just do XYZ without any pushback whatsoever. Plus, they're cheaper. You're not going to pay a lot of money for Nia DaCosta.
That's why I dislike modern Hollywood. I mean, I go, if you go back in my movie reactions, my channel recommends a lot of movies from yesteryear, like all the way back to the 20s. I watch movies, and I definitely have gotten a better appreciation over the last couple of years for cinema. And every time I keep going back to the A-list stubs where I am going back to the theater now, I just find a different, it's a 50-50. Either
Yeah.
I get a really good movie or a really, really bad movie. But when I get those bad movies, which is the majority, it makes me not want to watch new movies again. People, oh, you watch the new Netflix movie? No, because I know most likely it's not going to be good. I'd rather go back in the 80s and watch something fun, or 90s, watch someone at the beginning of their career instead of at the end of their career with a director that's fresh and doesn't have anything in their catalog, yet they have a big name attached to it, and I already know it's not going to be good, and it's that's the thing, is that nobody's taking risk anymore. You might think it's taking a risk with a new director, and then you see, oh, well, they did 20 episodes of Modern Family or something like that, so let's give them John Wick 5. What? Some of these matchups don't make any sense.
Who's your uncle?
What?
Who's your uncle? Like, how did you get? No. How did they get that part? Like, how did they land that? How did they?
I didn't know you were doing a reference.
No. It's like, who's your famous Hollywood producer uncle that got you this part?
Oh God, the nepotism is out the roof. I mean, Spaceballs. They just Spaceballs 2. They just introduced what is it? Bill Paxton's son.
Yeah,
is going to be part of that movie too.
Mm-hmm.
Wyatt Russell's in damn near everything. So it's
Century.
like
Jack Quaid's and everything. Kind of tired of Jack Quaid.
Yeah, so it's like, and I don't mind it if they're good. If they're good actors, they can follow in the footsteps. Like, I know Wyatt Russell's never going to be as good as Kurt Russell, but that's just my personal opinion. I who knows? Maybe he might be in 20 years. But I'm just recently fresh off of Tombstone, so it's like, you have big shoes to fill, kid. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm just a more fan of the older movies, and I'm just. So every time they bring it, oh, so-and-so is going to, redo this movie. I'm just not hyped for it anymore.
I saw a clip with Wyatt Russell and Kurt Russell together. I think they were promoting this Godzilla Apple TV Plus show that came out a couple years ago.
I saw one episode, yeah.
I didn't even bother. This is around the time of Night Swim, and I was like, I don't care. And they were interviewing the two of them together, and they were asking Wyatt, they were like, hey, man, if you could play your dad's characters, if you could reboot one of them, who would you pick? And he picked R.J. McCready from The Thing, and Kurt Russell just like started laughing, like slapping his fucking knee, going ah, ha, 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 ha. And Brian's like, what? I think I could do. He's like, yeah, we'll get you the sombrero. Ha, ha, ha. It's like, even he knows, like, you can't touch those movies. Like, you were not Kurt Russell.
I'm telling you, there's gonna be a moment, dude, where they start touching movies. I mean, there's already remakes of remakes, right?
Uh-huh.
They're gonna redo The Thing, since they fucked up on the Thing not. 2011 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
They're gonna eventually do Back to the Future. They're gonna do something with some Indiana Jones shit. They're gonna just revamp all the biggest IP in the last 40, 50 years. Just pass it off to new people. They're not gonna include the new people. They're gonna mention them in passing, I'm sure. And it's just gonna ruin everything. And Hollywood
Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney will star in all of them.
Absolutely. And Pedro Pascal, don't forget about him.
He's another. He's the one I'm really tired of. Like, when you look at, like, I'll put another poll up to you guys, and I'll ask you too.
I really want Edmund too, because I love Ari Aster, but what the fuck, man? I don't want to see Pedro Pascal in that. Can you replace him as someone else?
Wait, what movie are you talking about?
Edmonton.
Oh yeah, the Joaquin Phoenix.
I just really like. I'm a fan of Joaquin Phoenix. I think he's a really good actor, and the premise sounds okay. I know it's going to be a more social commentary thing because it's dealing with COVID, and I like social divide. That's why I loved Civil War so much, is because it actually brought those uncomfortable situations to light, right? Which you see either on Twitter or like in just cooler talk, water cooler talk or whatever. But people try to shy away from it when it comes to the Hollywood projects, right? So I like having those uncomfortable conversations with people. The only thing is, though, Pedro Pascal is literally in everything in the last 5 years. That's why I'm not seeing Material Girl or whatever the hell movie he's in, Materialist or whatever. Yeah, I'm not watching that crap.
Yeah, dude,
I don't care if it's the best thing on the planet. I'm not watching
when I went to go see the Life of Chuck, which is a great movie, by the way, if you haven't seen it. I don't think it's getting a lot of press, but like, it is up there with like Stand By Me, The Green Mile, and Shawshank for like non-horror Stephen King. I think it's pretty good. I think it'll make its way onto streaming and people will find it. But I went to go to the AMC Scene Unscreen, the AMC stub members, right? And on Reddit they were talking about like, well, it's rated R and it's this long, so it's either gonna be The Life of Chuck or it's gonna be The Materialists, which is like Dakota Johnson, Chris Evans, and Pedro. And I guess it's kind of like her deciding, do I want like an older Pedro in a shallow relationship where he's like whatever, or do I want the poor Chris Evans? And it's like, you know where this is going. And I don't want to watch Madam Web again. Get
It's
Dakota Johnson.
to me, it felt like that Challengers movie, but just for an little older audience, I guess. I don't know if you saw the press for it. Like Dakota Johnson was like holding their heads together. She's like, "Just kiss, come on, just kiss each other." This is how you're selling the movie. Like Pedro Pascal is
Yeah.
already really suspect as it is, and like the internet just really clowns him, and we already know he's in everything. It's he is a tryhard. He is for sure a tryhard when he does not need to be. Just let the acting speak for itself. How are you feeling on Fantastic Four, real quick? I know this can be a deep dive, but how are you feeling?
Well, that was the poll question I was going to put out. It's like the three big blockbusters are going to be Superman, Jurassic World, and Fantastic Four, right? Those are the big three, the big summer blockbusters. So I guess like, I was going to bring those up, put those out into the fray, and kind of like talk about it a little bit because you're right. Every time I go to the cinemas, there's always that Fantastic Four trailer, and every time I was telling my girl about it, like every time I watch it, I just gloss over. I feel nothing watching that trailer.
Same. I haven't. I've seen all the trailers so far, all the TV spots. I get nothing from it. The Galactus popcorn bucket that costs $1,000. I don't care. Like none of that really interests me. And I'm already seeing like because they have early reviews, right? Because I think people have already been talking about
And
certain
reshoots.
parts of it. Yeah. Certain things. The actor that plays Galactus, I don't know who. They're saying he's very strong in it. Like he's like probably the most memorable. I'm just not looking forward to this one, and I just based on the box office of everything, I don't see it generating as much as a Marvel movie. Obviously, will not. I mean, we saw Thunderbolts, we saw Captain America, the last one, Brave New World.
Yep.
This is not 5-10 years ago. Obviously, I'm trying to. This is gonna make like Captain America, Brave New World numbers. I think
I'd
so.
agree with that.
It's going to be around that 400 mil overall.
I think Superman's gonna make decent money. I think it's gonna be a mixed bag.
I think Superman's going to do a lot better because it's more of an international. I don't know. I feel like Superman is more international, even though it's American audiences that are not feeling. They're dissecting why is he flying like this? Why are his eyeballs looking like this? Why is this, and this? I got my tickets early for like that Amazon early screening. I don't know if you saw that. It was like a couple days earlier. And I'm not even the biggest Superman fan. I've only seen Superman 1 and 2 from Christopher Reeve's days.
No Henry Cavill?
No.
Wow.
No. I didn't dive into any DCU stuff or I was always the Marvel guy. I never really watched too much DC stuff. I caught him later on streamer, even like like Blue Beetle, like the side ones just for
God,
fun.
no. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, like it's fine, but I never got into Justice League. I think I saw Wonder Woman. Yeah, the first Wonder Woman. And I was just like, okay. I never saw the Aquaman movies. Never Flash. So
Snyder Cut.
Yeah, I feel
4
like
hours and 4x3.
that's the whole thing too. I think I didn't go into it because I know I would have to invest so much time, and there's a lot of lore with this and stuff. And to be completely honest, just based on there is something going on with Marvel CGI department and DC CGI department where it's like very noticeable.
Yeah.
Very noticeable difference on the DCI or DC universe. I don't know.
So you're probably ranking as like Superman, and then how
Superman's
would you
gonna dominate?
But is that's your number one ticket?
So what was it? Superman,
Superman, Fantastic Four,
and Jurassic
World Rebirth.
Oh, so just statistically, I think Jurassic World always like takes home the major take, right? But which one am I thinking is going to take the most box office wise?
What's your personal picks?
Oh, okay, gotcha. I'm going to say Jurassic World Rebirth. To be honest,
your number one.
I have fun. That's my number one. I have fun with those movies. I think I've seen them all. Oh, I have not seen Jurassic Park 2 and 3. So, like from
that's
back
fine.
in the day.
They keep rebooting it. It's like it's always a soft reboot. This is definitely a soft reboot.
Yeah, but ever since Jurassic World came out, those ones, and then the Dominion and all these whatever the subtitles were after that, I saw all of them. I had fun with them. I feel like they have more of international appeal. I mean, overseas creature those dinosaur movies
Sure.
do very very
Yeah.
well. And then Superman, and then final Fantastic Four would probably be my third. I don't even have advanced tickets yet for Fantastic Four. That's
Yeah.
kind of
Same.
how.
Same.
Yeah,
And you're in the same boat as me, of like where they're like, hey, you have 4 movies a week you can pick from.
yeah.
With the AMC Plus Stub member. So it's like I could,
Hmm.
but I'm like,
Yeah,
I might be busy that day. So
yeah. And I don't.
uh
This is the thing too, is that I think when people hear us talk too, sometimes they're like, "Oh, they've already got it in their mind. They're snarky or whatever, and they're just like film snobs and stuff like that."
it's fine.
I do not want movies to fail. That's the whole point. I don't
Same.
want any movie to fail, really.
Yeah.
And if it just doesn't interest me, it doesn't interest me, and I'm going to point out what I don't like about it or what I do like about it. And I'm going to be completely honest. If I come out the other side of Fantastic Four loving it, I will let people know. Like I didn't know that I would have so much fun with Thunderbolts as I did, and I thought it was a different, unique take on it. And people still roast me in my comments, and they go, "I'm not listening to anything this guy said. He liked Thunderbolts."
They probably
So
haven't even seen it.
probably not. I mean, I understand it didn't generate money. It's not. I didn't think it would.
Well, hey
I
man,
just thought
it's called
it
the
was a
new
different take.
Avengers now.
Yeah, that whole thing was weird. I did not like that. But Thunderbolts and New Avengers.
I
Um,
agree. I agree with your sentiment where I think like because I went to go on a whim. I went to go see Thunderbolts too. We went to the theaters and
how'd you like
I
it?
I think I mean it feels like a step in the right direction. I guess you know what I mean. Like Disney Plus had all these terrible shows that came out.
Mhm.
Um, kind of a mixed bag. Like everyone said, it's too bloated. It feels like homework. The quality is dipping. The effects are dipping. No one's amped up for Ironheart. I bet most people don't, in the comments don't even know what I'm talking about right now.
I
But
saw
there's
the
a
trailer. I saw the trailer and I was like, "Wow, you guys just check boxed or check mark all the boxes that you needed to." And I'm a huge fan of both the Black Panther movies. So I'm like, you guys are gonna water down and taint that franchise for sure. That's all I'm gonna say. And I'm not
did you
interested in
like
it
Sinners?
whatsoever. I love Sinners. Yeah, it was great. I had
Okay.
a very fun experience. I saw it in IMAX. Afterwards, I saw the TikToks that were talking about it was very similar to Dusk Till Dawn, and I definitely saw the comparisons with the characters when it came to that. And From Dusk Till Dawn is one of my favorite films of the '90s, like horror films and stuff like that, even though it's like two movies in one pretty much.
Oh yeah, it's still great
Um
though. Yeah.
yeah, I could say that. And look, this is the thing. Just because a director does not acknowledge the homage of something, because he could have easily said, "Yeah, I saw Dust Till Dawn and I got some inspiration, threw it in the Jim Crow era and made it my own." He
Yeah.
said, "No, I got the inspiration from Puss in Boots too."
Really? Wait, tell me
That's
about
what
this.
Okay, so the inspiration for the main bad guy, which is the main Irish bad guy, was
Semi.
yeah, was the villain from Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which I have not seen. So
Get
it's
the
like a
fuck out
big
of
bad
here.
wolf or something. Look it
Really?
up. Look it up. And I was
Man.
like, really? You cannot give From Dusk Till Dawn their flowers. Okay.
Yeah. It feels like an Oscar movie that starts as an Oscar movie and then becomes From Dusk Till Dawn in third act.
Oh yeah, it's a total crime movie. The first part,
Sure.
you could definitely tell the first part of the movie is Quentin Tarantino, and the second part is Robert Rodriguez out the ass for sure.
Yeah. It's funny. We were rewatching it recently, and like, there's definitely some scenes you can totally cut from that movie. I don't want to get off too much topic
Yeah.
with Sinners, but like, there's like a scene where like, uh, uh, Michael B. Jordan, like, he goes to see the ex-wife, and like, they're just kind of getting it on. I'm like, we don't need
Mhm.
this. We could skip all that. Or even in the end, we're like, we're seeing her, and I don't want to go into spoilers, but like, we're seeing her again, and she's got her
Mhm.
boobie out, and she's like, breastfeeding. I'm like, we don't need that. There's little
It's
things that I'm kind of just like, ah.
yeah. I knew we would get that because it's Ryan Coogler, and Ryan Coogler is known for those like little flashbacks, like he did it in Wakanda. He did it in those movies and stuff like that. And I understand they're trying to get us to love these characters, so then we ultimately see them die. We care that they die and stuff like that. And um, after a while, like you said, yeah, with the breastfeeding and kind of bringing it all back like full circle, like now you're pandering to the audience because now you're assuming that the audience is too dumb to get the connections between these things.
Sure.
So you have to show him in visual form what's happening. I hate pandering. I really do hate pandering.
Same.
It's ridiculous. It's redundant, and it makes me feel dumber.
You
Watching
can't
this.
resonate with it because it's very apparent that the creators did not have any heart and soul in this.
Yeah. It goes back to and I don't want to get too PC with it or whatever we call it.
No, go for it.
When we talk about you got to check mark all the boxes off nowadays. You have to have the gay best friend. You have to this and this. The gay best friend has to be extremely gay so that that they're gay. And it's like, well, we have eyeballs in our head. We can tell by certain mannerisms and stuff like that. Things like that are shoehorned in do not feel natural anymore. That's why people are really upset about this. That's why I believe like Bob Iger, like we were talking about Disney, is like, okay, I'm going to stop inserting all this shit into our movies because it's losing its money. It's absolutely losing its money.
Yeah.
So I'm really surprised it took them this long to understand what the hell was going on.
If they didn't have the theme parks making all that money for them, and then people aren't even going to that anymore, it's too expensive, they would probably be in real trouble. If they didn't have the money coming in from so many different revenues, if they were just relying on these movies, they'd probably be in real trouble losing all the money. They're going back to what you said. You don't have to make these movies for $250 million a pop. You don't.
No.
You have so little story, so little substance. It's like, it's all, and the CG is bad, and the story is like, talk about the Thunderbolts. Yeah, it had some okay moments, but a lot of it just felt like filler. Just characters hanging out in the basement, the characters over here. It ends in a group hug, and it's fine, but it's not anything that I'd really write home about, And talking about Ironheart, like they put it on the front of the trailer, from the visionary mind of Ryan Coogler. I'm like, you guys are trying so hard on this one, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they have to sell it, and God, I saw so many people like breaking down this trailer because it's like the whole thing is that Iron Man uses his tech, pretty much for, he sells weapons and stuff like that. And, but ultimately it's like it's this whole, doing for good. And it seems like Ironheart is doing it just for itself, or I want it for clout, or it's this whole different way of looking at things. That the whole point of being a superhero or having a suit is not to be the best at this. Like, it's not to be, like to gloat or to brag. That is not, you've missed the point completely already.
Absolutely.
I think personally, and it when you start doing things like that, now you've changed the narrative for a different generation. Now the generation is going to think superheroes going forward are supposed to be like this. So then studios can go, guess what? Now we can shape and mold new young superheroes who aren't, it's not going to be anything super about them. They're going to be in suits. They're all going to be in suits, right? Nobody's going to have X-Men powers anymore.
Nope.
They're all going to be watered down, yeah. I mean, this is a super deep dive.
No, it's fine, man. I love this. I'm totally cool with it.
But I know it's just gonna once again pander to and pretty much say, fuck off, older generation. This ain't your new. I mean, this ain't your old superheroes that you're used to, and that's gonna be a sad day. That's why I really still enjoy going out to like the Deadpool and Wolverine movies, and I'm looking forward to them introducing X-Men and the original cast and the live actions that we got, because I grew up with that and stuff like that, and they are hopefully keeping everything the same. I am living for those moments too, and that's what I get excited for, stuff like that. But when I hear these new introduction of side characters, and I didn't like her in Wakanda Forever. I'll be honest, I didn't like the Ironheart.
I don't even remember her in that movie.
Yeah, she's introduced.
You know what? Like, I didn't see it. That's why.
Oh, okay.
I saw the first one.
She's introduced as like almost a bully because she's going to MIT as well, and she's like charging rich kids that go to that school to write their essay because she's so smart. So he's like, here, I'm sorry I was late with the money. It's $800. Here's $800. And she's like, you're late with the money, so it's now $1,000. And she's like a bully, and she's like a little kid. Well, and it's like, it doesn't make any sense, because it's like someone that, once again, knows that they're gifted would help anyone in need. You don't charge them, you don't tip them more. Like, you're not a gangster. You're going to MIT. But they have this persona. They have this persona to like uphold and you're going to
Yeah.
MIT. I don't get that. I don't really.
Well, go
And
on.
also too, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I think there's this subplot or something with the villain in Ironheart where they're like freedom fighters, which is
Oh
basically
no,
like Antifa. It's like Antifa group that they're glorifying, and I'm like, once again, way to like tie it into politics, and
that works
you're
so
gonna,
well in Captain America Boys.
yeah,
Remember that?
yeah,
They're not terrorists. They're freedom fight. You gotta stop calling them terrorists. You gotta
yeah.
do better, Governor. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
once again, I go to the movies or see these shows to escape fucking reality. Like stop shoehorning in politics and words that I hear day to day, you know, in my shows. And they just keep doing it. But hopefully with Bob Iger seeing all the backlash, they stop implementing these words, buzzwords and shoehorning all this diversity or whatever. Diversity is fine. Trust me. I'm all
Sure.
here for it. It has to feel natural and fluid. It
You gotta
really
have
does.
heart. You gotta have heart.
Yeah, or else it feels like nothing. It
Passion.
just feels like it's all fabricated. And that's not why I go to the movies. You know, I want to feel like I'm immersing myself in something real and genuine.
Well, I think it's, going back to what you said, like, Ironheart feels very much like a checkbox. You know what I mean? It's like, and even if you could think back at like the original Iron Man, like kind of what you were saying before, like when you first watch that first Iron Man, he's talking to Pepper in the basement. He's like, there is nothing else. It's just the next mission. It's just about trying to rectify what I did wrong with being a arms dealer and all that. And like, you understand his motivation. I remember before they put this Ironheart's very much the thing they're trying to like sweep under the rug. Like they haven't promoted it until like the very, very end. Now that we're up to it. But I remember there was like a Disney 23 promo of all the upcoming events. And like one of them was for Ironheart, and it was just a tiny clip. And what they chose to show was basically just like her, like just being like, I want to do something remarkable. And she's like crying and shit. And the next scene is like the guy from Hamilton, who's like the villain in the movie. I forget his name. He's a very good actor. I think he's in The Heights, but I can't remember.
Yes, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Right. And he's kind of like the villain that you don't know he's a villain until later, but like the comics, right? And he's kind of like, well, anybody who's ever done anything remarkable, got there by doing some things that were questionable. And cut two, it's her like throwing a bag of money into the air because like clearly she stole it.
This cliche bag of money like throwing in the air. Like who
Right.
has ever done that? Like even thought to do that? Ever.
Right.
It's such a ridiculous thing.
But she's burning things on fire. She's lighting things on fire, and she's throwing money into the air, not for nothing. I mean, I know
it's an anarchist group, and it's
I
an
know,
anarchist group.
I know I'm a white guy, and maybe I should just shut my mouth. But like, if I was in the black community, and I saw like, okay, you're representing me, right, by having this character who didn't really earn it or create the Iron Man suit, the first thing I'm going to do is go on a spree where I light things on fire and I steal money and I throw it in the sky. Like, this is how we're jumping off.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that with these check marks, I keep saying check boxes, check marks. When you do things like that, it's now your job to, if you're introducing a character that is smart as hell, that has created her own Iron Man suit, she's got into MIT on merit alone, which I'm assuming.
Well, and that's a checkbox. That's a checkbox within itself. Like the 12-year-old girl who's a genius. Like the Ghostbusters movies did that. Like the 12-year-old girl who's like a mega mind. She can hack anything. She can do anything. And you're like, back it up.
Well, I don't think she's 12. I think she's like 18.
Well, still, but you know what I mean? Like having the young girl who's like always like, oh, well, I used a back door, obviously. And you're like, yeah, okay.
But you would think someone this smart, whether they're charging people to write their papers for them, okay, I can get over that. But now you're going along with, once again, robberies and hanging out with people that are going to jeopardize your reputation and your future. These don't seem like things an MIT person would do.
No.
MIT student would ever do. So you're writing in things, once again, that if I were a black person, I would be like, damn, you're really stereotyping the fuck out of me, throwing money. Like, this is not a rap video. Right. You know, like that's exactly what I pictured when I saw that. I was like, okay, I know what you're trying to appeal to, because if you didn't show that, then people would feel like, oh, this doesn't feel real enough to her culture, And these are probably all white guys writing this fucking shit anyways. You know what I mean? I mean,
I think it's AI at this point.
Yeah, true. I mean, I don't really know how much say Ryan Coogler has in this. I mean, probably executive producer only.
I don't
So
know. He probably
I,
directed like the first episode, right? That's usually the way.
yeah, possibly. And you know what? I mean, I'm not mad at him. That's fine. I don't really watch the shows. Do you get deep into all of the shows that go along with things like this?
With diminishing returns with each one. Like I think during the pandemic, I watched WandaVision and I watched uh Winter Soldier.
Oh, I
Was
watched WandaVision too. That was cool.
well, what was the Winter Soldier one called? Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Is that it? I just call it Captain America, boys.
No, that was Falcon and the Winter
Falcon and the
Soldier.
Winter Soldier. Okay, okay,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
gotcha. I watched that. I thought it was fine. See, and then it becomes a blur. Like you have like What If,
Mhm.
She-Hulk. I didn't even bother because
Dude,
like all the memes were kind of taking shots at it. I was like, I'm good.
yeah,
The new Daredevil. I actually watched that thinking it was going to be good because I like the original, like John Berthnall. They're bringing him back. That started okay-ish and then just went downhill. The viewership was awful for that. Like nobody watched the new
that's what I
Daredevil.
heard. That's what I heard.
Um,
I don't know if it was as bad as the drop off in The Last of Us season 2, but I mean,
well,
I
people
see. I
were
didn't
actually
even.
watching that, I feel.
Yeah, I saw the first episode of The Last of Us season 2, and I was like, and I was really invested in the first season too.
Same.
And you know, and then I saw the first episode, and I'm like, okay, I don't really know how this is gonna go. And then I saw the response, and then I saw previews for what was coming, and I was like, okay, I don't think I'm gonna continue this.
No, I think it's a hard pass. And then like you hear
Yeah,
about how, I'm gonna be a dad. You're
I'm
like,
gonna be
what
a
are we
dad.
doing? Come on.
Yeah, you know, why did we not make such a big deal about the casting in the first season? Did we ever talk? Did anybody ever talk about that?
I
Because they
think
only brought up her miscasting in the season 2.
I think Bella
I feel
Ramsey
like,
was pretty much running off the coattails of like she was the badass in Game of Thrones.
uh huh.
And I
Oh,
think
see, I never finished Game of Thrones. I only saw the first 2 seasons.
okay. Like in the middle of Game of
So,
Thrones when it was at its peak before that went off the rails. There's like a point in the story where like, Jon Snow is kind of like hitting a low point and like she's like one of the kingdoms. She probably inherited it and she's like the youngest whatever and she stands up in like a big coliseum and says like I support Jon Snow, King of the North. And she kind of got that King of the North meme going. And I
okay.
think everyone thought like, hey, for that little bit that she's in where she nominates Jon Snow and gets our hero back on track. She was pretty cool. She's this little girl who also she's younger, right? She's like, I think she was 10 when she filmed this. So seeing this
Okay.
little 10-year-old who's like a badass more than these other characters kind of made people gravitate towards that character, maybe not the actress, but that character. And HBO said, okay, you know what? We're going to put you in that. And, I think early
Yeah.
on in season 1, we kept an open mind, but as it
Yeah.
went on into season 2, well, I don't gotta tell you, it just they alienated their own audience. So
Yeah.
where do you go from there?
I mean, I know it's wrong to say, but she has a very Game of Thrones face, if you know what I mean.
She has a potato face.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can hear the memes on Instagram like ba ba da
I just
da.
I just don't know why it wasn't talked about as much until season 2.
I think it
Because I'm like,
yeah.
I noticed she looked different, but then everyone made it very apparent in season 2, and I think it's because of just I don't know if it was the writing or how the show went over time. They just started picking on her looks and stuff like that. I know it's low-hanging fruit, it's very easy target, but, like,
Sure.
people just hate that person now.
I think the biggest offense with that show is that it's boring. Because like I've
Yeah.
watched it, I put it on. I think I made it maybe 5 episodes in before I finally
Mhm.
jumped off, and it was very much in the background. But it's just dull. Like if you ever play the games,
No.
okay. Well, the games are very action driven. Most of the game, she's like a badass. She's like a little Tomb Raider, and she's got like a bow, and she's taking out the zombies and everything like that. And Pedro Pascal, I think, is also kind of miscast as Joel.
Mhm.
They talked
That's what a
about
lot of people
getting
are saying.
yeah, like they said that a better casting for Joel would have been Jamie Lannister from Game of Thrones. I'm like, yeah, I could totally see that working. Where
Okay.
Pedro just kind of feels like, if you've seen Pedro in anything, you kind of know what you're getting.
Yeah.
He's like a safe
That
bet.
Yeah, that's the thing going, back to this whole Pedro just oversaturating the market right now is because when you do stuff like that, you can't get many variations of this guy. I mean, there's not many. Same with Glenn Powell. I mean, if you see
Mhm.
him in the span of like 5 different movies in 5 years, then you just okay. We already know what we're gonna get. So there's no surprise here. There's no. There's not much to. to transform this guy into? I don't know. That's just how I see it.
I totally agree. Listen, man, I don't want to waste any more of your time. I feel like you've been a great guest. We talked about so many great things. Is there anything you want to shout out as far as like your channel, what you got going on, what's coming out soon?
Oh, just thank you so much for having me, man. I love the chat. Thank you, Flix Talkers in the building, or what do you call your? Do you have a name for your viewers?
I need to work on it. I don't have one yet.
The Burn Brigade. I don't know.
Burns Brigade.
Burns Brigade. Yeah, shouts out to all them. Just whoever supports. I'm always a fan of. But as far as like my channel, I do a lot of reactions when I can. It's just a lot of editing. People seem to like that, so I've been kind of incorporating that in my repertoire. I have been coming back with movie news though, where I'll do like long formats like this, just of kind of just me talking about news articles or entertainment, viral clips and stuff like that, and then I'll kind of splice them up as you do and just spread them out throughout the week. Just pick people's brain on things, and then sprinkle in a little bit of movie reviews as I am going back to the movies once again. And yeah, I really do love old movies, new movies, and just I forgot to mention this too before we popped in the chat. This was going to be primarily Flix Talk was going to be primarily a horror channel only.
Okay.
Because that's what I used to eat, sleep, and breathe, and people just started talking to me more about every single other movie, and I was like, okay, let's see how this works. And I started offering just my insight on different movies, and that's kind of where it is now. And I love it. I mean, it's a lot to focus on, obviously, different genres of movies and stuff, because I still love horror. I still love horror to the core, like big budget, low budget, C tier or shit tier, whatever you want to call it, type budget movies. I grew up on Trauma, so it's like the shittiest of the shit movies, and I love them. I absolutely love them because I have fun with them. And that's the one thing, is that people take movies too seriously sometimes, depending on what they are. And I think everybody, thinks that every single movie that's put out is a Shawshank Redemption, and it's really not supposed to be. So stop thinking that and just have fun with movies.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see Megan. Like I know what I'm getting. I know exactly what to expect. Yeah. But I'll admit that latest trailer, I'm like, this is schlocky fun, and I'm kind of here for it.
I might go in it drunk, to be honest.
Gummies.
Yeah, gummies. That'll be fun. That'll be fun. So yeah, if you guys want to follow me, I would say if you guys want to follow me, it's just Flix Talk, FLIX Talk. You guys can search for me on YouTube or on Instagram at It's Flix Talk.
And you're on everything. You're on Discord. You're on Patreon. You're on
We're trying to get the Discord going. Yes, I have a great Patreon community, which I started a couple years ago, which I do show my full movie reactions. Actually, like 50% of the movies that I choose to react to are from Patreon users.
Fantastic.
They
go check that out.
Yeah, they recommend so much good movies from stars that I know now, but I've never heard of their older, younger stuff or their early stuff. Like I just watched a young Nicolas Cage movie with Dennis Hopper called Red Rock West. You heard of that one?
I've seen that one. Yeah,
1993. I thought it was very good. I'm gonna try to do an edit for that for YouTube. And but once again, like little gems like I've never heard of. I love watching them with fresh eyes, and kind of giving my perspective along the way. Not trying to talk too much, but just offering enough commentary where I can. And like once again, just have fun with it. And I interact with my comment section daily, and I just have fun with my community.
And that's I'm glad you brought that up, because that's exactly what we're doing here. Is that like, my videos are kind of spread out, because like you were talking about like some of my ending videos. I'll make a video like that, but I'll spend like 2 to 3 weeks working on it. You know what I mean? Like I'll get really into it, and I'll research it, and I'll do that kind of stuff. And like, you do that long enough, and it kind of feels like disconnected, right? Like you're not really connecting with your audience or your viewers or stuff like that. And I want to build something where we can kind of be a little bit more connected with the people who are watching it, which is why I started the Monday Night Live. This is our second episode. You can go check out our episode last week, and next week we're going to be back with J Mark. But this was a lot of fun, man. It was great having you on the channel. It was great kind of like seeing like your point of view on all the current events, and just like this format is kind of similar, where it's like we picked a movie. Like in this case, we watched Jason Lives, right? Last week we watched what was it called? I forget. It's been a long week. Next week we're going to be talking
camp. Did you do Sleepaway Camp?
Sleepaway Camp. Yeah, but that was a great thing, is that we kind of went off. And I love that we go off tangents sometimes, because we do cover it. Like today we covered Will Smith. We covered 28 Days Later briefly. We covered all that stuff. Did my camera just? Oh, there we go.
Yeah. It
did. But yeah, and then we kind of went off and we started talking about hold on.
Just Hollywood in general.
Am I black screen? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're,
As
you're a
long,
black
all right, as
screen.
long as you can hear me. I don't know what happened, guys. I'm sorry.
No worries. No
But
worries.
he's way prettier anyway. But basically, it's like, we kind of just went off and decided, like, let's just pick like 3 news articles. Like today was like the back doors, and we talked about 28 Years is coming out next week, and we talked
Mhm.
about Jason Lives and talked about Will Smith. But basically, it's like one core movie we're going to talk about, and I'm sorry if we didn't talk about Jason Lives more. But we kind of dabble in some other stuff, and then we kind of talk about what's coming up in the pipeline. Like next Monday, we're going to be doing 28 years later. We're going to have J Mark back on the channel. I don't know why my camera turned off. I do apologize.
No worries.
But yeah, so like we're going to be doing that. And we're going to pull clips. Like I'm probably going to pull a clip of like us talking about Will Smith and put B-roll on that and make its own video the same way I did with,
That'd be hilarious.
Johnny Burns talks about sleepaway camp. I think we're going to be doing one for Will Smith. What is this? I like BBLs. They stand for bad bitches link up. So yeah, guys, I'm so happy that you were here. I'm so happy we could do this again. We're gonna be doing this every Monday at 9 p.m. You can check us out. We're gonna be there. I'm mostly on Instagram if you want to follow me over there. But this was a lot of fun. Flix Talks. I'm so happy you can make it out. I hope you can come back. We could talk about more horror and
absolutely.
stuff like that. This is a lot
Anytime.
of fun.
Anytime, my friend. I'm glad that you're getting into and many creators are getting into live streaming, because that's the exact way I've built my community as well of regulars, is doing the live streams. I stopped doing them a while just because I have a full-time job as well and then other obligations. So I used to do 3 live streams a week as well as do everything else. I'm going to try to get back to that this summer because I just think they're so fun. There's something about being just live and real and uncut. There you are.
Yep.
And I can't edit out the ums and uhs and stuff like that. I got to retrain my brain to stop doing that. But it's more fun. I think you can engage with your audience and you just kind of go off the cuff a little bit and you're just your real self. And if people like it, they like it. And just give the people what they want. That's usually what it is, right? Showbiz, give the people what they want.
Absolutely. Like I can so relate to that because I would fall into that rabbit hole of like trying to make it more video essay-esque with like the ending videos and stuff like that. And I would sit there with my typewriter like Jack Torrance, just typing stuff out. And I'm like, no, we gotta use a different word here. And then you have to like recite it all and then dub over it with B-roll and all that. And like it kind of just takes the fun out of it. Like I just want to shoot the shit with people that love movies like you, like J Mark, and just like have a good time doing it, getting different point of views. I love hearing from the chat here and there. Like this has been great hearing from Amanda and Brian and everybody else. Jeremy Miller is back in the chat. Like it's just it's been a lot of fun. We're gonna keep doing it. I'd love to have you come back sometime. You pick the movie and we'll totally hit it up.
Sounds good, bro.
All right,
Great
so guys, so go check out Flix Talk. He's your Flix Talk across the board, right? All of your socials,
pretty much, yeah, spelled the same way. I'm sure you can search for me just on
he comes
TikTok,
up right away.
Twitter. Yeah.
Go check out Flix Talk and then join us Wednesday. I'll be seeing 28 Years Later. I'm going to a press invite for that. You'll get my theater straight out of theater reaction. It's going to be on TikTok, Instagram, here. And then that following Monday, a week from today, we're going to be talking about 28 Years Later with J Mark Schwarzenegger coming back to the show. I've got like 5 or 6 other guests lined up in the calendar. We're doing some like Tetris moving it around, but had such a great time talking to you, dude. I can't wait for you to come back and do this again because this was just a total blast. I'm definitely gonna clip that Will Smith clip and like the funny. Again, you never know what to expect. I'm like, we're gonna be talking about Friday the 13th, and I'm like, 3 days ago, did you see Will Smith, man? That
right?
Marilyn Monroe outfit? Like, what are we doing, dude? But
well, thanks for having me once again, man.
Yeah, man, fantastic. Thank you so much for watching. Go check out Flix Talk and go check us out this Wednesday and Monday. We'll be back again. I have been Johnny Burns here on Burns Reviews, and we will see you next time.
Peace.
Thanks, brother. This is so much fun. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course. Anytime, bro.